Me. Fucking Gary.
You guys ready?
I'm ready, dude.
That's every streamer's mantra in the morning. Me. It's all about me. Give money to my me.
Great intro. I like that.
Hello,
Yeah,
everybody, and
just
welcome to Spine Chill episode 52, I believe. This is it? 52?
Wait, don't leave me being incredibly pessimistic about other streamers into the podcast. No, my image.
Yeah, no, we're going to leave that in.
No,
Yeah.
my wholesome image.
Sinow's a Twitch ambassador, by the way.
Me.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Wolfe, here with Gary the Hot Cross,
Hello.
Doug Running Man,
Hello.
and Sinow Beats.
Me.
Me. You sound like a streamer on Twitter.
Thanks.
And live.
I've had lots of practice.
And offline as well.
What can I say? I'm like a method actor.
Yeah. We've got a great show for you guys today.
8 years.
We're talking about DVD 2v8 just got released.
Oh my god.
So you can play 2 killers at once against 8 survivors. We've also got our book club game, Little Kitty Big City, as well as announcing what next week's book club is going to be, or next episode. And we've got the long-awaited console tier list, which will take up the majority of the episode. So we got a lot of content for you guys here today, and we're going to start with talking about DBD, unless we want to talk about how y'all's weeks have been.
Should we
Anybody
start
have
with
anything
Oh.
good? Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
I almost skipped straight to do
Who's going
skip to
first?
DBD.
I got sick, dude. I got really sick.
me too.
You're sick,
I got
bro.
I caught no, not the cool kind, not the kickflip skateboarding kind. No, I got I got strep throat, upper respiratory infection, knocked me out. I moved my entire apartment 80 miles north. A day after I moved in, ready to start streaming again, I got sick and I was in bed for like 4 days. So thanks to 2v8 and John and Gary's 2v8 stream. That was the sickest I was when you guys went live and played 2v8. And so I told Gary this already, but that's like kind of what got me through it. I was like dying in bed, 104 fever, couldn't swallow. And the only thing that kept me going was watching you guys play 2v8 in
So
DVD.
me and John were kind of your heroes.
Yeah, you were my heroes for a moment.
Yeah.
And shout out to you guys making fun of me the entire time you were doing it. So that was cool because it was like, okay, I must really, for a good, decent amount of it, I was like, okay, I do exist because they're making fun of me. So I must be a real person. I haven't moved on.
I'm
yet.
not a
This
dream.
is still real.
Right, we
Yeah,
were affirming
and
your
so-
existence. That seems like and once again, we were your heroes, I would say.
Yeah.
I appreciated it. And then the antibiotics worked. I got better. And now, you guys, if you're one of the video only watchers, you'll notice that I have a kind of a weird background. Shut up, Gary.
The background is completely different. Like it's
Shut
night
up!
and
All
day.
right. I'm on my laptop. I'm in Virginia, getting ready to move my fiance out to the West Coast. So we, 2 days after this recording, 3 days after this recording, we're going to be driving out.
Doug,
to the West
Nice.
Coast.
I love
Yes.
you, but you regularly look a bit like you're taking a photograph at the DMV regardless. And today has continued that trend. You look lovely. It would be a lovely DMV photo,
It
but
would be,
Thank
know
you.
what?
I-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to take it as a compliment, actually. Yeah,
You're
that sounds
looking
good.
good.
I think
I
that
like
was how it was meant.
you look recovered. But yes, your
I like that.
background isn't...
I just
Hey,
don't have
you're the
my
interesting
RGBs,
thing.
man. I don't have my RGBs. They make the.
I know, it's
they
trash.
You haven't got your
they put
little
a-
like cat ears headphones.
They put flare, dude. I think so. Let me ask you guys a question. This is a good time. I got you guys here. I've been thinking about doing a green screen at the new place. I have a different setup at the new place now, and I have like a wall right behind me rather than kind of far behind me. I thought about just doing a green screen. What are your thoughts on green screens, you guys?
Pain in the ass.
I hate them.
Yeah, I used to do a green screen for like years. And it's cool at first, but then it starts to be a pain like walking around it in the room. You'd be amazed at how much room it sucks up instantly and how small it makes the room when it's there. And sometimes it can be really fidgety and finicky, and that's annoying when you're like trying to get it to key just right. And there's like, like the lighting changes from like the outside, like it's sunnier one day than it is the next or something. You have to make
You have to
little
adjust
adjustment.
lighting like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes depending on the room that you're in. If you have like blackout curtains or something,
Also,
you probably won't have that. But
I quite like just seeing someone's background. I like seeing the environment. I think it's nice.
I can see that. Yeah.
Mm.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I think
Makes sense.
green screens were really in for a while, and there's something nice and clean about the look. But I think they've kind of gone a little out of style in the past couple years. But with that said, if you like green screen, go for it.
Yeah, I might try it. So we'll see. It depends. My thought was I was thinking about maybe like painting the wall behind me, painting it green, because then you wouldn't have to
Oh
put it.
yeah.
It wouldn't take any space. Or you can get stuff. You can get stuff you affix to the wall. That's like wallpaper you put up behind you. So I don't have to have one of the. I feel like John, what you were talking about is maybe the ones that are on like a stand that you put behind you that has like a giant green screen behind. But I was thinking about doing a wall thing. But yeah, it's something a lot to think about.
Yeah,
I'll get it all sorted, I guess.
Yeah.
They do make Elgato makes those ones where it's like a kind of a very like easy to transport thing that just like you pull it up and you put it down again. And those are they are actually quite useful for that, but it's like John said, the lighting has to be really, really consistent over it, otherwise you get the kind of fuzzies. And if anything in your room changes lighting for whatever reason, it's really easy to get those like fuzzy artifacts, or like things on you get like keyed out if it's like too sensitive. And then it starts to be like not that clean look anymore. So
yeah, then it looks kind of bad. Like if it's not clean, it looks kind of not great.
Kind of amateur.
Yeah.
And one day
you're no amateur.
One day you'll wear a green t-shirt and you'll be a floating head.
Yeah, you'll forget about it and wear like green one day. Or like, I don't know. You'll have like a hat that's green or something.
Yeah. If it was Doug,
I have all kinds of I have all kinds of new anxieties now. Thanks, guys. That's
Sure, no problem.
That's good. No, it's good stuff to think about, though. Yeah, I'll have to consider that. I don't know what I'll do. I'll just get more RGBs, dude.
I think if you want
ones,
if you want to up your camera game, the kind of what John's got going on right now is like
is that like an AS or whatever, like one of the Sony ones, John? Is that what you've got? Or
so I have a Panasonic GH5 is what I have.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But before that, I was using the Canon 80D. So those are the two I've used. I vastly prefer the Panasonic, but it is more expensive.
Yeah, I think that I'm using like a Razer Kaio 60 FPS camera, but it's time to replace it now. I don't like it. I need something new.
I used the Kio for a while, but it is very like I just got started and I want something that people can see my face, but it's kind of cheap because
that's still what I'm running with. I've got like a Logitech thing. I couldn't even tell you what it is.
C920 probably.
Yeah, that was
my
that's been the standard for a long time for
that was my first
webcam.
Yeah. This is like my upgraded camera as well.
It's all good. Your camera, it looks great. That's the thing. I don't think any of us need real upgrades more. It's just like you start to tinker. I'm moving into a new space, and I want to like
it's nice to upgrade stuff.
I want to up my game a little bit, you know. Yeah.
Right.
That's what we do though as streamers. Sometimes we obsess over these things, and a lot of the time, unless you're like too large and people can't see the game, or too small or whatever, people barely notice the difference sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of those things that we get like an eye for, where you see somebody on new camera, you're like, whoa, I can see that you've changed camera, but the viewers are like, huh? I'm watching this on a Nokia 3310 on a park bench on a sunny day. Can you turn up the game streamer? I can't hear the game.
Way. A Nokia
the game's too dark.
3310.
Yeah.
And that's always the joke that I make of like just the worst setup. And they're like, I can't hear the game very well. And it's like, okay, well, you are in Grand Central Station, so that might be impacting you slightly.
I'm not using headphones either. I'm just kind of playing from the speaker like an asshole.
I'm playing this out of my child's Fisher-Price toy, and your audio, like, I can't hear the game. You turn the game up, streamer.
You're peaking a lot. I can't help but notice. You might want to fix that. Well.
Anyway, how's everybody else this week?
Well, I got sick too. I didn't get strep, thank God. By the way, Doug, I'm happy that you're feeling better because I've had strep before. I've had that kind of 104 temperature with you can't swallow without it being an agonizing pain. That's awful. So I'm glad that you've gotten over that. That's terrible. I didn't have anything like that, but I did have like some kind of like weird. I think it was a stress sickness of some kind. I had a bunch of like weird symptoms, and I just was like, I had like major fatigue basically for a week, headaches, nausea, just a lot of like really annoying stuff. I'm over it now, thankfully, but I don't know what it was. Hope it doesn't come back.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you recovered, man. That's
yeah. There was like a period of time where like the group call, it's like everybody was like barely hanging on. It kind of felt like
not me.
Yeah, stupid Gary with all his working out and eating healthy. He's all healthy all the time. Like,
I've been like, I've broken my little records of jogging every time I go out. I do it further.
This is so Gary. We're talking about all the agony and pain that we went through, and Gary's like, I'm fine. I feel great.
And that should make you happy. Oh,
let's talk about me.
Thank God my friend Gary was okay whilst I was struggling through my illness.
That's
no,
honestly,
you're all
we
like,
really
I wish Gary was suffering as well.
Yeah,
I'm
suffering, but it's just
I'm sorry you were feeling
topic.
unwell.
Oh, I'm great.
See, John, we're the assholes because we weren't laying in bed worrying about Gary while we were fighting for our lives. I get it now. Yeah, we were selfish.
Let's all just be
character of the universe. That's too bad.
How rude.
Oh well, my thighs hurt a little bit after my really long jog. There you go. Happy?
Yeah, that's really comparable.
I'm really glad that you also made sacrifices this week.
I had to eat 3 ice creams to feel better.
So, how was your week?
It was good. You just reminded me so much, Gary, of my grandmother once. I was having a really morbid conversation about, I was like, yeah, ever since her daughter, my mother, passed away, I was like, I just kind of feel like 60 years old is like my life expectancy now. It's really weird because that's the age she passed away. My gran just immediately responds to me, I don't think about death at all. I'm like, thanks, Gran. That's great. Talking about a beloved member of our family passing away and my feelings associated to it. Yeah, I just never think about death. Like, all right, well, that's...
Did she then skip out of the room?
Yeah, she's just like, do you fancy another coffee or something? It's you, Gary.
Yeah.
Just unbothered. I'm glad you're unbothered, Gary, though.
Yeah.
In his lane, focused, moisturized.
Just thinking about ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
But no, I'm good. And new raids came out in Final Fantasy 14, so I've been playing that a lot.
Oh, have they been? What's in it?
They're very good. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm putting in the hours right now with the squad.
What's the coolest new boss?
Everybody's talking about this one cute girl boss that like transforms partially into like a bee. She's wearing like stockings and big like heels and stuff. And it plays like kind of weird like Japanese idol music in the background while you fight her. It's they knew that she would be popular, put it that way. And she is. And everybody is simping for her.
Big anime titties.
They wrote into the model creator big anime tits.
Yeah. I mean, the AI models have probably been trained on a lot of Final Fantasy fan art over the years anyway, so it's all come full circle.
Does she have bumble boobies?
I think she's more about the feet. Her heels are like stingers, and she kicks you a lot.
Okay.
And then there's like,
let's shut this down.
We don't need to hear anything more about the foot fetish boss.
See, this is why I don't talk about Final Fantasy 14 on this podcast.
No, it's okay. I was looking over the PAX West exhibitor list today, and Final Fantasy 14 is going to have a booth, and I thought of you. I was like, oh
yeah, they have quite a big con presence. They've surprisingly kept up a lot of con presence. They do this thing where you can like win a t-shirt by like fighting one of the bosses on like they make it on like the kind of easy mode, so it's like people who are new to the game can do like the basic shit and still win. But I think it's actually been quite a good way to advertise the game at conventions rather than just being there. It's like you can beat you can beat Garuda and win a t-shirt that says I beat Garuda on it, and I'm like, that actually they put a little thought and effort into that, which is kind of cool, you know. And I think other companies with games like that, it'd be cool to see them do that for conventions rather than just being like, yeah, we sent a guy out there and he's got some swag.
Yeah. You want to play the game?
Badges and stickers.
Yeah. You want to play my game?
I literally have the game at home. It's one of those situations. Actually, I do. I have it at home. Not a worse version, the same thing.
Man, they must love talking to you at the conventions, John.
Yeah.
Impress
Staring
me.
them down.
No,
what do you got?
It's not so much that. It's just I could just play this at home. Why would I play it here?
It's a good point.
Half of the games at the conventions are like that. The other half, though.
True.
Yeah, there's like
it is always about
it's unreleased.
I always feel a bit like if I'm going to check out this game, I think I'd rather do it in the privacy of my own home rather than like performatively do it here. But
right,
I used to like unreleased games. So at PAX South, when I go around, I remember Bee Simulator was there, which is probably one of my favorites that I've come across because I really liked Bee Simulator. I thought it was an awesome demo. Got to talk to the devs. Then like a year later, it came out and I got to play it, and I thought, that's just such a nice experience overall. But when you just a game that's already out, it's like, it's out. Why am I here?
What are you guys doing here? Come on.
If you're having to be here, you've already failed your marketing campaign.
Yeah. See, they need me and you walking
Damn, Gary.
around judging the con floor like this. What are they doing here?
Oh, it would be so horrible. Oh, it'd be great though.
Shocking everyone who's
Walk
watching.
up to the booth. What are you guys doing here?
We could make it into a reality TV show, Sino, that you could watch on stream.
Yeah.
Oh god, horrifying.
Yeah, it'd be like Bar Rescue, but for con booths.
Yeah. Dev rescue.
Yeah,
John can be like, "Why are you here?" And whilst I play the game, and go, "What's with the UI?"
Exactly.
See, yeah, I think my problem is every time I like talk to game devs at conventions, I want to always like talk shop. I want to like hear what it's like for them past like the usual kind of like, here, I can give you a tutorial to the game. I'm like, yeah, that's for all the normies or whatever. I want to talk to you about what it's been like to release this game. Are they making you work crunch? How are you advertising this?
I hate crunch time.
Have you talked to publishers? Are publishers really annoying? You know, I want to talk to them about stuff like that, not just like, hey, check out the first level. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Meanwhile, the guy from the publisher is like peering over their shoulder, listening to their answer. Oh, it's great. It's great working for the publisher.
Oh, we have such a really love working with this publisher. Checks notes. They've really supported us.
EA have never done anything to make us feel lesser.
Yeah. I think it depends. My experience talking to game devs at conventions, it depends on how social the dev is. Because sometimes, like with these like black curtain booths, which could just be anybody, the game dev might be like a really awkward standoffish guy that's just kind of like, yeah, what do you want? When you go over to see the game. I've had that before many times. I've had game devs at PAX like heckle content creator badges. That's happened. It was years ago, back when it was kind of a newer thing, but there were game devs that were like, we don't want content creators at our booth type of thing. So it's been all over the place. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, something like that.
Whose booth was that? Phil Fish?
I don't remember, but I remember there being like a controversy at PAX one time because one of the devs was like turning content creators away from their booth because they thought that like Let's Plays were like robbing them of sales, basically. Yeah, I have some nuanced opinions about that.
There's a debate there to be had. Like,
yeah, I'm not wholly just the content creator side on that one. Actually, I will say.
Me neither. I think it depends on the game. I think content creators can sell multiplayer games really well.
Yes,
but I think when it comes to single player, especially indie, especially shorter games, a lot of people will just choose to watch the video.
I mean, I designed Nightblight specifically with the worry that someone would just watch it and not feel the need to buy it. That's why it's got so much random events in it.
Yeah.
So there's a reason to play it yourself.
I think you put enough reasons to play it yourself. You put enough like you get a lot more from playing it than just watching it.
Yeah, but it's tough because, like, you know, as you say, a story-driven game.
Yeah,
you're screwed.
Yeah,
was that game called the Dragon Cancer? Is that what it's called?
That Dragon
Cancer.
Yeah. The dev came out because when Phil Fish, I think, tweeted about how content creators should pay developers a percentage of like their takings from like a YouTube video or whatnot. Then everyone kind of pounced on him, and Phil Fish is a divisive figure for he's a divisive figure for multiple reasons, and I don't agree with a lot of his takes. But that one, I remember the guy who made the Dragon Cancer came out to be like, actually, I made a net loss on my game.
Yeah, like if your game barely makes enough sales and you don't even break even, and then you see somebody like Markiplier get like 7 million views for his video of him playing through your entire game, and people just watch that, and he makes the money. Like, I think anybody would feel a bit aggrieved in that situation where you're like, shit, it would be really nice if I could have paid the bills as well for you enjoying this. You know, I think that's a very totally fair, understandable emotion to have. Phil Fish is one of those people that he had a tendency to strike at something. He had a tendency to have a good point, and he was pointing something out that was real, but he usually phrased it in such a kind of like aggressive, like slapdash manner that it was hard for people to not take it as anything but, oh, he's being a dick.
And he was already at like a disadvantage because the Fez scenario, if anyone doesn't know, he made a game called Fez, which he kept pushing back, which I agreed with him pushing it back, to be honest, because like he wanted it to be perfect. It was his baby, it's his art form, he wanted his game to be perfect, but he kept pushing it back, and everyone just started turning against him.
Yeah.
So I think that's
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's partially why he turned so bitter, maybe, because gamers were wankers to him.
He was like a central figure in that movie, Indie Game the Movie. Right?
That's a great movie as well.
Yeah, they talked a lot about Phil Fish and like his process with Fez and like.
Yeah, it was him and the
guys
Super
from
Meat
Super Meat
Boy
Boy
and Braid.
Right.
Mate, that's
Jonathan Blow.
High recommend that movie.
That was it's on.
It
Netflix,
is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's also a bit time capsule because it's very like that was the point in the games industry where we were beginning to like. It's like everything was becoming like AAA. Yeah, it was like everybody was obsessed.
Like the indie shift.
Yeah, so this was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah,
maybe longer.
2012, 2011, where like you could release a game that costs $7 on the Xbox Live Marketplace, and that could make you a millionaire. It was becoming like, whoa, you could do that now.
Well, I remember doing Let's Plays around then, and the indie scene was just like dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aside from like, I remember Super Meat Boy was around back then, but like in the horror scene in particular, like I just talked about this the other day in a Shadow of the Erdtree video. I was just like bored killing things, so I just started talking about early days of YouTube, and like horror gaming was like in 2012 it was like basically dead, because it was like, you know, I don't know if Resident Evil 6 had come out by then or if it was the following year, but like Resident Evil and Silent Hill were in awful straits, and then like they kind of stopped making AAA horror games outside of that slowly, and the indie scene, like there was no indie horror scene. It was like Amnesia: The Dark Descent was it. And I remember that when that came through, that was just like, whoa, you know, this is so different and cool. It's in first person, you know. There weren't like first person horror games back then. This is before Outlast and all that. And like there was like a period of a few years where just like if you wanted to play an indie horror game, they didn't exist. You had to play Amnesia mods were so popular just for that reason. Like there was a solid year when people would just play Amnesia mods, like dozens and dozens of them, because they could make them very different, you know, and it's like they were a whole new game. And there's some pretty good ones.
I remember you playing a lot of Amnesia mods yourself.
Yeah, like if you were a horror gamer on YouTube, like that's basically all you could do was like Amnesia mods. Like PewDiePie did that back then. Like a lot of big gamer YouTubers, like they would just post Amnesia mods, and that's because there was no indie scene. There was no itch.io. There wasn't even Game Jolt or any of these or Steam. Steam didn't have Steam Greenlight back then. I don't think. I think it was before that. So yeah, it's an interesting time period for sure.
That's why it annoys me when people are like, gaming is dead. I'm like,
no,
guy,
dude,
if you just play something that isn't Call of Duty for like 5 fucking seconds.
Yeah,
gaming's actually great right now in many ways.
I saw a meme on Twitter that was like specifically comparing the year 2012 to 2024 in gaming. In 2024, it had like, you know, the guy that was like all shell shocked with like a nuclear wasteland in the background. And in 2012, it was like a happy guy with like green meadows and stuff. And I was just like I just talked about the year 2012 just now. It sucked for games. Like it was like notoriously bad. I remember like morale was like historically low at the time. I can't even tell you what 2012 games came out. I think didn't it like Dragon Age Inquisition win Game of the Year or something in 2012? Or maybe that was the next year.
I think that was 2013. But yeah, I think Dark Souls came out either 2011 or 2012, and that was one of the reasons why Dark Souls was so big, because it was like moving away from this idea that like everything has to be Gears of War now in the industry.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It was like, and a lot of the AAA games were becoming increasingly like, it was like kind of handholdy, not always in a very satisfying way, you know, where it's like a lot of like markers on your map, go here, do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think Dark Souls was a game that deliberately felt a bit old school. It didn't always give you a lot of information. You had to kind of work out. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dark Souls made such a big impact when it came out, is because people were like, there's no map. Nothing here is just telling me what to do or where to go. I'm not just like doing WoW quests here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shitty time, actually.
It was. Games are great now in comparison.
There was also a lot of like years and years of like games magazines kind of giving feedback for every weird game, just being like, I don't really get it. So, 7 out of 10.
Times haven't really changed, have they? I mean, we can go back to the IGN review of Choo Choo Charles.
Yeah, you know, Gary's Roman Empire. The IGN review of Choo Choo Charles.
Have you? No, you hear they're putting out a new game?
Are they?
Choo Choo Charles guy?
Oh yeah,
he's doing a holiday game. What is
really?
it?
Cuff
No, I was
Bus.
talking about the one about the ice cream truck. They're doing an ice cream truck one that's gonna come out around Halloween. It's called like it's like
Oh, I
waffle
didn't see
cone or
that.
something.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
I'll
that.
play it.
Yeah, I'll play anything that 2-Star makes.
Choo Choo Charles was awesome.
I remember
Yeah.
reading reviews
Waffle
in,
cone Willie. It's coming out.
Waffle
reviews in
Cone.
games magazines
great
about like
name.
Harvest Moon, and they were just like, "This is weird in Japanese, and I don't get it." So like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and it's just like, if you just think all games have to be about like this very one specific kind of subject matter, of course all the reviews are just going to be like, "Oh, they get it. It was weird." It's like I don't want that. That's not going to help me. We need more of video gaming than just always shoot the bad guy, you know? Fight things, shoot the bad guy. But nowadays we have tons.
Yeah.
Like
All
I've got such a backlog of such a variety of different games that I need to play that I'm like
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, so I have no time for people being like, gaming's over. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm sorry that you don't like Call of Duty's latest game, but
Well,
just
those
play
people are
something else for a while.
losers.
Well,
They-
and you can always take a step back into the past. Like Chrono Trigger is probably the next game I'm going to play because it's on my list.
It'll be too slow for
Like-
them. They'll be like, oh, I'm bored.
I wonder what it'd be like
do I
to play
get a
Chrono
gun?
Trigger. I'll be very interested to hear
It's called
hear
Chrono
what you think
Trigger,
of it. I'll be interested to hear what you think of it, Gary, because I can't imagine playing that game without because like the nostalgia for me is so high that it's just like it's a perfect game, right? But like I wonder what it'll be like with having no preconceived notions about it.
Yeah, I'm quite excited
Dang.
to play it. Like that.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy VI are my two next solo project games.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is. Chrono Trigger is a 30-year-old game at this point. I think it's 30 this year. I think it was 1994, wasn't it? Or
Something like that, yeah.
because it was
It's
late in
old.
the SNES life cycle. It was like almost PS1 era. But yeah, that's
it's about 95.
I mean, I think JRPGs are kind of timeless though. Frankly, like especially from that era. We'll talk about this later, actually. But
Oh, you're right,
I think tons of SNES JRPGs are like they're just as good today. Like actually, I want to go back and listen or play some.
When we do talk about the consoles, I want to bring up one of your tweets later, John, about retro games. I thought it was really interesting, but
Oh, okay, yeah,
Just-
we can talk
yeah.
about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to forget that because it's very interesting.
I'll try and remind you.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about that when it becomes a little bit more topical.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So 2v8.
Let's talk about Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight 2v8, 2 killers versus 8 survivors.
Wow.
It's very Seinfeld of you. What's the
2
deal?
killers versus 8 survivors.
8 survivors.
It's a brand new game mode. Actually, by the time you guys are reading or watching or listening to this, it'll be over. It was only around for 2 weeks, but hopefully it'll come back. They had 5 different killers you could play as: Trapper, Wraith, Huntress, Hillbilly, and Nurse. And you could play as any survivor, couldn't you?
Yeah, all the
play as
survivors.
survivors, yeah.
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 But you had to pick between 4 sort of roles. You could be the healer,
That's right.
the technician, like the generator person. You could be like the runner who had windows of opportunity and stuff, and the scout that could see killer auras and stuff. I think.
Something like that. Sure.
Yeah, that is.
I mean,
yeah.
It didn't have as much of an effect on things as the killer roles did, like with the
No.
individual powers, because the killers got they got two big buffs, right? That would help. They got like Call of Brine base, for example, and some other things I can't remember at the moment. But then they had
nowhere
like
to
their own.
hide.
Yeah, they got nowhere to hide. Yeah, but then they had 2 like killer specific abilities where they could kind of buff themselves or the other killer with something flavorful.
Yeah.
So it was
There
kind of
was basically one that was a lot of their add-ons was kind of like piled up on top of them. And then the second ability was one that kind of integrated with your teammate a little bit. So for example, if Hillbilly chainsawed near a survivor, the survivor would become exposed to an M1 hit from the other killer.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's an interesting system because this way, like, behavior can, theoretically at least, balance individual killers by making them, like, if they're too strong, they can, like, reduce one of the 2v8 specific buffs that they give, for example. So it's cool. It's also, like, makes it different enough from playing it in 1v4, besides having another person. The playstyle changes a little bit as well.
Survivors had to complete 8 generators rather than the usual 5. It's 5, isn't it? Yeah. It's been a while since I just played standard
Jesus
DVD.
Christ, Gary.
Oh my god.
Even I can remember there's 5 generators normally. Jesus.
Dude.
There's 3 exit doors instead. There's 3 hatches that open up when there's only 2 surviving survivors.
Cages instead of hooks.
Yeah, there's cages instead of hooks. So rather than killers having to carry a survivor to a hook, they just kind of I think press spacebar and they would send them to a pyramid heads kind of horny jail cage somewhere on the other side of the map. There's lots of chests spawn in this mode as well, where I think there was an increased rate of keys that you could open hatches with, it felt like, because I found more than 1 key, which was good luck. The maps were specifically readjusted for this mode as well. There was, I think, 4 different maps. Mother's
Something
Dwelling,
like
there was Azeroth's, there was
Suffocation
House,
Pit.
and Suffocation Pit. Yeah, I think there were 4. And that's kind of like a rundown of how the game played, I think.
Yeah, Gary and I played probably for like 5 or 6 hours. 2v8.
Yeah, we played for a long time, yeah.
We got about like 8 matches in.
Yeah, the queue times, that's been like the biggest talking point, is the queue times were really bad on the killer side.
Yes.
It was mostly like 10 to 15 minutes if you were lucky, where you'd be waiting to find a match.
Yeah, so I got in late and I was playing during the day, and I think the best queue I had was 6 minutes and the longest I had was 24 minutes. So I was keeping track of it. I started playing like a week after it came out. And that's been a big conversation in the community, is that it's good lessons learned for behavior, because like the mode is literally so popular that it ruined DVD everywhere. Like everybody's playing 2v8 now. So queues are long in standard DVD for killer and survivor. Like both are having like 5, 10, 15-minute queues. If you don't try play 1v4 killer, it's like 15-minute queues. Survivor, 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, because everybody is playing 2v8. And then 2v8, obviously Survivor has had 400% bonus the entire time because they're trying to fill in survivors because everybody wants to play killer. So yeah, it's kind of...
I wanted to ask you, actually, specifically, Doug, because I think your finger is on the pulse of the DVD meta the most out of all of us, although we all keep up in some regard. But when I started playing 2v8, one thing that really struck me is like you have like these like pre-approved builds and you don't really have items, right? And I think a lot of the fun for Survivor, because Survivor gameplay is pretty basic in many ways, is related to like flashlight saves or flashbang saves. Yeah. I noticed that everybody who gets into being a survivor eventually kind of begins to go down that path if they become like very kind of high level. And they don't really have that in 2v8, which is one of the reasons why I think Survivor doesn't feel very fun. Well, it's not like it's not fun at all, but it's just like killer is where people are at more on 2v8, right? It seems to be the more fun role, and that's why there's the queue problem, yeah? Also the fact that you need 8 survivors compared to just 2 killers.
Well, I mean, let's just go right back to the problem they've had with any of these fancy game modes they've done. The Survivor gameplay loop doesn't change at all outside of taking things away, right? Like all you do is just do gens and you run away. I will say, so I played a lot of Survivor to get queues and to do the tome, and I had a lot of fun with Survivor, and there's like something really satisfying about running a killer so hard they have to call a second killer over. They can't catch you alone. They have to
call
like,
their big brother or cousin.
That feels really, really good when you're like, you just know they're in calls being like, God, this son of a bitch, get over here. Come over here, cut him off. Cut him off at Shack, right? Like, you know, that's cool. God. But at the end of the day, there's no flashlight saves. Altruism can be frustrating because like you have 8 survivors, so everybody ends up going for saves. And then like I had the tome challenge to get 4 saves in a game and people kept cutting me off for saves. It was making me really frustrated.
So what I wanted to ask you, Doug, is the survivor queue problem with 2v8 and maybe the base game just because of 2v8, or is there like a problem with survivor generally? Because I've heard Kyle, who is like a survivor main, high level survivor, say that I think a lot of just the general base game survivors are just not enjoying it very much at the moment. And
I mean, survivor bonus is 80% of the time in standard DVD. Like it's almost always, and when they have bonuses because they need people queuing up, right? Yeah, survivor players. I mean, I don't know. Survivor is not. They haven't made the last time they made a tangible change to the core gameplay loop at DVD was what, Endgame Collapse. Like they haven't added anything. For survivors, they haven't added anything. Like it's just do gen, run to the loop, waste time,
and making the pip system not count.
Well, and they took away, like basically in 2v8 at least, anything with totems, hexes, boons. So it's like
totems don't exist.
one less thing for survivors to do. That's like
right.
kind of interesting is look for totems. There's no point to doing that.
Yeah, so Survivor gameplay was already pretty basic in many ways. DBD, of course, as a Survivor has like, it's got depth that isn't easy to see for like somebody who's just looking from the outside. Of course.
I mean,
I will say that they balanced TVA really, really well for there to be like very little to zero downtime. Like you're either on a gen, in a chase, making a save. Like there's so much going on all the time, and nobody can slow the game down because they have all the aura reading on the killer. Like anytime a killer enters a chase, you get aura reading in a radius. Anytime the killer kicks a gen, you get aura reading in a radius. Like there is no hiding in the corner in TVA. Like you're gonna always be seen. You're gonna be getting chased and stuff. Yeah. So like I will give it that. And compared to standard DVD, the pace of TVA is incredible. It's like fast.
Yeah,
always something going on.
I don't think a lot of people figured the mode would be like that, and that's the kind of experience you're signing up for.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good thing. I think it's a positive.
When it comes to Survivor gameplay as well, I mean, like I'm the most recent of the four of us who was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't just play DVD. Because part of the problem is the game is very balanced. And I would say 2v8 is another example. It's very well balanced. But on the Survivor side, that just makes it really... Every match feels very much the same. And I would argue that the 1v4 mode of Survivor feels very much the same as the 2v8 mode in Survivor. It doesn't feel any different. If anything, 2v8's more repetitive because you're basically just always against a nurse and a huntress. And
it's weird. You guys were talking about that before, how you're going against... I have not faced a nurse in 2v8 yet.
What?
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
It's just like DVD's so weird. Like, and I'm playing on the East Coast, which is like I'm in NA East. You guys you're EU, John, you're Central, so I don't know what that would end up placing.
I think
you.
I get put on West most of the time.
You get put West, so you'll end up West, and Sinow, you probably play more East or here because you queue up with like Central duo, right? Like for the most part.
Well, Kyle will be East, so yeah,
Kyle's East.
I play on
okay,
East
so you're East. Okay, and you've seen a lot of Nurse. You said playing East.
Yeah, when I play, actually no, I did play 2v quite a lot solo, and then I saw tons of Nurse because Europe loves to sweat.
There's a
we all already know that.
There's a huntress in every match, and then I would say for me, 3 out of 4 matches was a nurse as well.
No, and that's not my experience at all. I did not get a nurse. And I got primarily trappers and hillbilly. It was like trapper hillbilly, wraith hillbilly, wraith trapper. I got huntress like every 3 games, and I never got a nurse.
What?
I know, and I keep hearing people talking about only seeing huntress and only seeing nurse. I'm like, what is with me? Why do I never see nurse? Huh? Maybe
because there's no MMR right for it.
I think that it loosely uses MMR, but the queues are. It'd
have to be very loose because like
if they were using MMR, they should have turned it off immediately when the queue times were that pissing horrible.
True.
But yeah, my original point was like the game is for Survivor. It's no different. 2v8. I mean, John, we played a little bit of Survivor when we got bored of getting 8k after 8k.
I did watch. Yeah, I was watching you guys do that.
Sinow rolled his eyes. Did you see that, Gary?
Yeah.
Rolled his eyes when he said that.
And then we played Survivor for a bit, and we played like 2 matches. And we're like, should we just go back to the queue time?
No. For me, Survivor was like, it was really cool getting 400% BP and I like being able to play whatever Survivor I wanted because I didn't need to have offerings or items. I could just play who I wanted and get the 400% bonus.
Yeah.
Those were like but like, again, when it's like, that's the reason why I'm like positive is like, just economics, not actual fun.
I would also add, it's very interesting that I would say the random perks and 2v8 have been the 2 most fun experiences I've had of DBD in years.
Yes. No, I completely agree.
Agreed.
Yep, and it's interesting that these are the modes where you don't get to choose perks. There's no meta. It's just random bollocks. And it's fantastic when you take away this ability to play the game particularly sweaty and have a oppressive build that ruins the experience for someone like,
they found a way.
People always find a way, but it's interesting because like I don't know how behavior work with that because their business model is so reliant on perks and killers and survivors being sweat.
Now that you mentioned that, I wonder if there's a way that they could combine Chaos Shuffle with 2v8 to where it's like a random perk instead of like the survivor rolls, which like I get what they were trying with that, but they could have just random perk 2v8. And I feel like maybe that could shore up a little bit of the interest on the survivor side.
Maybe because then you give survivors perks again, take away their teamwork element, and then let the killers give them a buff or something, and then run at it.
Yeah.
I will say that. So Kyle is kind of one of my go-tos for like high level opinions of Survivor, and he doesn't really like 2v8 because it's a bit too chaotic. And he actually likes having the downtime where sometimes you're the guy in the chase and sometimes you have the downtime. It's a bit more tactical, I guess, the base game, and 2v8 is just like chaos. But he loves Chaos Shuffle. He thinks it's so much fun. It's like it forces you to not just play the same every game. So I guess what I was wanting to ask you guys is like, do you think 2v8 has helped illuminate the idea that maybe the Survivor gameplay in general could do with like thinking about changing some things, maybe adding some things, making the experience more fun somehow? How would they even do that though?
I think 2v8 playing Survivor in that reminded me why I couldn't play DBD as my own my main game anymore. Like it just.
Yeah, I will say the first couple of matches that I did with Survivor, I was like, oh, kind of nice, fun. I was going against like, Wraith, Hillbilly, stuff like that. And then the very first match that I had Nurse Huntress, I was like, oh. Because it was like
then we went back into the queue.
Yeah, then we went back into killer queue, I think, after that, because it was like the Huntress was like doing stuff like walking around to the cages with her hatchet raised and stuff, while the nurse was just insta downing people in the background. It was just like there's no gameplay here. I was just unhooking people and going down, unhooking people, going down. It was just nobody was even touching gens. It was kind of miserable.
And also you couldn't cancel and unhook as efficiently as you can like a normal hook. So if you try to unhook someone from the cage, you're taking a hatchet.
Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on the fact that the game's fucking broken. Like it's so laggy, it's so shitty, so many bugs.
It's not designed for 8 people. And
it was so bad.
And the game prior to 2v8, I believe, had like a buggy mess where everything was broken. Yeah. Tiles in the map weren't generating in properly. People
it's still like that,
bro. Map. Oh, it's still happening.
Like that. Still happens on. The night set, what is it? The night and D&D set. I just spawned into the new D&D map, and it was like there's like a red tile in the corner. You can fall through the earth. Like
because the game broke, and then they did an emergency fix before 2v8 came out, which I think made 2v8 function. Yeah. But I can only imagine the clusterfuck that's created at the back end of bugs that need to get repaired. Like, dude, I wouldn't want to be on that team right now. Holy shit.
You've heard me rant about it, but it's like I can't believe that they like accept that they launched these patches in this bad of shape. Like no other game would get away with that. No game that calls itself a ranked game could get away with that shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just so many bugs.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah. And that's the thing. 2v8 is fun. It's like an arcade mode. So it makes it less frustrating that hatchets are somehow worse. Still, they're hitting you from further around the corner than before, and sometimes you just get stuck on nothing. Like you just be running in place. You're like, oh, okay.
I did get some rubber banding, and I did see some teleporting, a lot more than I have, I think, ever in DBD in 2v8. So yeah, that was a concern. I feel like we've been talking a lot about like kind of the negatives of it, but like the positives of playing duo killer, like Aaron said, we talked about this on our stream when we were playing duo killer. I was like, this is the most fun I've had in DBD in at least 2 years.
Yeah.
It's so fun again. Yeah, it was amazing.
I've played as much 2v8 as I can fit in. Like I was playing with Lynxy as well. I played tons with Lynxy.
Yeah.
Duo, I'm down.
Did she finally get an 8K?
Yes. She finally got an 8K.
Okay, you helped her get one. Good.
Someone had to. I think she got one with Masher as well, but
babysat her until she got the 8K.
It's fantastic, but the thing is, like, I hate to sound like negative Nancy. It's like, yeah, it's great. It's so much fun. Everybody wants to play it. So now fix it, behavior. Fix that. Like, how do you fix that?
Right.
Like, like how do they can't make it a permanent mode because right now it's killed 1v4. It has to go away. How do they fix it? How do they incentivize playing Survivor in that mode? I guess like have a little faith in the fact that like they created little character classes. Like maybe they'll find a way to, because again, I think Sinow, you hit the nail on the head. Survivors want to be able to make flashbang saves and flashlight saves. Like you guys saw the upcoming patch notes are out, right, for the next mid chapter. Yeah. And they're buffing buffing deception. They're buffing the pebble perk. They're buffing flashbang. They're buffing they're buffing all the tomfoolery perks. Like all of them are getting buffed.
I love those perks. I'm very into that.
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's also worth noting that this is like the first iteration of 2v8. I assume there's gonna be room for more classes. I assume we'll get Blast Mine Flashbang Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they need to add some tomfoolery. They need to add some
Exactly.
hijinks, man. Like that's what survivors want to do. That's what keeps people wanting to queue a survivor. You know what people want to queue up with 6 or 7 of their friends and sit on gens, right? Like they want to play flashlights. They want to play flashbangs. They want to throw pebbles around the map and watch the killer get lost. Like
they should at least be allowed to bring items. I feel like survivors, because I understand why we've outlawed perks and killer add-ons and stuff, but I think survivors should at least be able to bring items. At the very least, I don't want my teammates opening chests during the match. That was frustrating me so much playing Survivor.
Oh, did you remember the LED that was doing all the totems?
Yeah, she was like cleansing totems. I was like, there's literally no reason for you to do that.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to do that.
She was scared of
that's
nowhere.
400% blood points per pop,
true, four times 1,500 points or whatever. 6,000 points a totem.
It's just 1,000 because they're not.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
So.
4,000, but still.
Yeah. They could expand on the survivor like class system with like some of them have like a certain kind of weapon. So like the Jane Jockey
give him a gun.
has like a
give him a gun. Give him a gun, dude.
They could do something like that.
They could make like the one that goes for flashlight saves has like a beamer by default. They could make like a buffer class, like a kind of Witchy Vibes class that like has a boon perk or two.
Yeah.
So like that's like something you're able to like support the team. They could. It's like a good start, but
yeah,
you see some of the issues with it that they could work on. But I'm just so glad to see behavior like pushing the boat out and do something a bit different.
Agreed.
Because we used to joke like they'll never do this. They're too lazy. It'll never work. Blah blah blah. And they actually like fucking did it, and that's great to see. So far.
It did take them so long though that fog whisperers are dropping like flies because they're so fed up with the game as the community is grumpier than ever.
Yeah.
It did take them a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least there's something positive to talk about, I guess.
Yeah. I'll say, like, for me to wrap, when 2v8 is inevitably going to come back, it was very successful. It will come back. Yeah. They better have just like not just. I hope they only focus on making the Survivor experience more interesting and more interactive and more fun. Like they got to find a way to get people playing Survivor because, Killer is obviously doing just fine.
I also need them to make Nemesis and Pyramid Head a combo I can play.
I was actually going to ask you guys. I had an idea that like they could create classes of killer. So like you could have the M1 class of killer and like the M2 class of killer, something like that.
I had the exact same idea.
Oh really?
So you could
like
stack
an A killer, B killer type of thing. Yeah.
John, you and I, great minds.
So that way like, you can't stack Nurse and Huntress, for example, because they're both like B killers.
Sorry to interrupt, but you guys, the patch that's coming out, they just buffed Nemesis. You mentioned Nemesis. Nemesis is getting a huge buff. They're making Nemesis. Nemesis's hinder on his tentacle is going to be stronger than Clown's bottles now.
Oh, what the fuck?
Based on the patch notes.
I want to play Nemesis. I'm back in 1v4 playing.
They want Gary to come back to the game real bad, huh?
Like for me, I'd say Nemesis is one of the most perfect killers in terms of like I think he's strong as he is. I don't know if
he's getting huge buffs. He's getting huge buffs. It'd be awesome.
I mean,
they're gonna walk those back. Are they gonna kill switch him?
Is this
gonna be like when they buffed twins?
The twins?
Because I'm just gonna go around and be like, well, this is the easiest game I've ever played.
This is the best PTV ever, dude. You better record some TikToks.
Hinder them. That's madness.
Yeah.
But on that note, Nemesis would be so fun to play in 2v8, just to bring it back, and I can't wait for them to expand this mode to other killers. Yeah. And like you said, Sinow, if they do like an A killer, B killer thing, I feel like that's gonna have to happen because otherwise you'll just see Nurse Blight. Nurse Spirit.
Oh my gosh.
Blight Spirit, and that's going to be so boring.
Miserable.
Because the point of it is like killer variety, right? You just be like, oh my god, it's, I don't know if they could do license.
It's Skull Merchant Knight.
Yeah. See, there's lots of bad combos, right? Like we talked
Honestly,
about...
give me the combo where Skull Merchant and someone isn't a bad combo.
True.
Then you can have 8 people DC on you rather than 4.
True. I mean, we talked about like Night Nemesis and just having like zombies and ghosts, cornering people.
That would be pretty
or
funny.
like Pinhead Pig, where they've got to do the reverse bear trap while the cube's going off and stuff like that. I mean, that's going to be evil. So I think they got to figure out some kind of system to where it's not absolutely miserable for the survivors.
Well, you could tell whoever was behind TVA really thought it through though. Like they cleaned like not a lot got through in terms of like imbalance. I don't think Nurse Huntress can be pretty overpowering, but they were smart enough to take the insta down off Billy's Saw, right. And then like the way the classes are balanced and the way that the perks are balanced on the killers, like everything felt pretty. I thought it felt really good. Like it felt
some thought
like
went
nothing.
into it.
The only thing that could possibly do to like ruin somebody's time was the people that were out 8-man slugging just to bleed people out.
Yes.
For fun.
Yeah.
Like that was weird.
Was that happening?
So much.
I saw,
like so many screenshots on Twitter.
Screenshots
dude. Like,
and stuff. I mean, you do get unbreakable after a while as Survivor, but when all 8 are alive, it's a problem.
Is that when you're dead hook? When you're dead hook, they get unbreakable.
Yeah. But if you get slugged on your first hook and everybody gets slugged, then you obviously don't have
There
it.
were people that were intentionally slugging out 8 just to do it, and then like making everybody bleed out, and then like I was like,
I saw people brag about it on social media, and I was like,
yeah.
This, like so many other people are going to do this, and it's not that amazing.
Look, Mum, I spoilt someone's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Great,
Such a
well done.
weird vibe, right?
You.
It's like we were talking about, Gary, after we played that Huntress that was like pseudo camping hooks with their hatchet raised. It was like we were getting 8Ks and we didn't have to do any of that shit. We just played normal.
Yeah. I think I in one session of Killer, like for 4 hours solo queue, I think 3 people got out. I was just playing with randoms, like globes and shit. I'm playing with fucking Switch players. I don't know. We're just out here doing it. Like, it was such a meme mode, right? And then the second day that I played my first game, we had like a really tough, like everybody got out. We got our asses kicked. It's probably an 8-stack. And I was like, there we go. That's a little bit better. Like but again, like both ways are possible. So I don't know. It felt pretty good. It felt more balanced than 1v4 to me.
Yes, yeah,
like,
I think
there's nothing
incredibly well balanced.
Yeah, there's like nothing you can do to really make either side more OP other than just being in comms, right? Which is like the problem. That's with every game mode. Comms is going to be.
So would you say the escape rate was quite low, but it felt balanced to you?
I don't know what the escape rate looked like. I don't know what it looked like to the average player.
When
I played Survivor, when I played Survivor, we weren't getting 8K'd. When I was playing solo queue Survivor, no, I think I only got 8K'd twice.
So like a couple of people were getting out every game.
I don't know. This is gonna sound like a flex, but I think it's like if you're a skilled player, if you play a lot, like I think as killer, it's very easy if you're a good killer. Like I think if you're good at killer, it can be really easy. But like because you're not getting really MMR, you're not just getting random survivors. But like
right, of course.
It felt balanced because like when I played Survivor, I think I pretty much had like a 50% survivor die rate. Like for me, it felt like
that's great.
I got out about 50-50. For the most part, maybe a little bit.
I would say a similar thing. I think most of my killer games were wins overall, but like people usually, the hatch. It's easy to get out of the hatch when you're the hatch is
tough to defend. Yeah, because there's 3 of them.
And even when the doors are open, like there's 3 doors to defend. That's not always the easiest thing to do. So I felt like it was pretty balanced. Like I would say my escape rate as survivor's been pretty 50-50, and kill rate's been higher than that, but.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to judge killer because like it's all meant to be like 1v1s, isn't it? So if you get like 6 kills,
I would bet any amount of money that if they like release the 2v8 stats, that it'll be like more even Survivor and Killer than 1v4 is, with all the variants and all the random shit. I think it would be like across the board pretty close on everything. That'd be my guess.
I would not have expected that, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't really get to play much Killer because Kyle was like, yeah, we'll play this. We'll play 2v8. And then he's like, I kind of hate 2v8. But he thinks it's like a good thing for the game. It's just that he enjoys the kind of tactical experience of the 4 survivors working together. But when I played Survivor, it was like so chaotic and there wasn't that many different things to do that I started to feel like a bot. Whereas I was like an unhooking, doing gens kind of bot where I was kind of just... I wasn't spending a lot of time like looking across the arena and being like, what gen do we need to do next? It was just kind of like keep going.
Do whatever you're.
I knew what I signed up for. Like I knew it was going to be a more chaotic kind of mode. But yeah, like a little bit more difference to the Survivor gameplay for the 2v8.
I will say I did kind of miss hiding because there's no point hiding.
I do miss that about DVD in general.
I did miss little elements about that. Like I know, Doug, you're shaking your head, but like, part of what makes 1v4 kind of fun sometimes is when the killer walks past you because you've hidden in a corner, and I'm dressed as Vom Jin, so it's hilarious to me if they walk past me. But like, there's no point hiding in lockers in 2v8.
I'm trolling them and they don't even know it.
I know, it's great.
Oh, you don't even know that I'm dressed like an idiot.
It's an element. Fuck you. There's an element of the game that's like just kind of lost in it, which isn't a bad thing because 2v8's great. It's like really fun because it's so fast paced.
Bro, there were so many pallets, bro. I loved running in TV. Like that's my favorite thing.
I love the chases and stuff, but there is that element that is missing, which I think there are certain players like Kyle might not like it as much because you do.
I get that completely.
Tactical gameplay. There's there's no point trying to be clever around a generator. You just run away.
Well, I feel like the
just
queue times indicate that the majority of the player base got tired of playing Survivor pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't really any. The only appeal is like the usual appeal, which is blood points. You get a lot of extra points by Survivor, and then being able to queue up with more than 2 people is nice. I guess if you like have a group of friends.
That is a really cool idea. Like, a big group call. People all just queue up for Survivor together and just have like a kind of silly, slightly drunken night.
At some point. Yeah,
I can definitely see. I definitely see what you were saying, Gary, in terms of like a lot of the gameplay element is stripped down in 2v8 to just be the 3 things that you can do: unhook, run, or do a gen.
Yeah. Which are the bits that, like, and I'll agree with you that for me the chasing is like one of the most fun parts.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I mean, me and John experienced this where when the other killer is brought to you and you've got both of them there, like John, do you remember I was having a really good loop with that Huntress?
I do remember. Yeah,
and then a trapper just came around the corner and just.
Yeah, and
that's great. That's the ultimate flex. You're like, you got to call your boy. I'm too good. You got to call your boy. I love that. It's just like so much fun.
It did feel like very Skull Merchant moment.
Yeah.
Skull Merchant.
It did feel like you were
if there's 2 on you, there's 7 on gens, man. That's what I'm saying.
No, there wasn't.
There was not.
It's still Survivor. There wasn't 7 on gens.
I don't think there was even 1 person on gens.
Yeah, I was gonna say one guy was saving, one guy was on a box, one guy was on a totem.
Mm-hmm.
John was AFK, grabbing a sparkling water. Yeah. Everybody was just doing their own thing.
I was observing because I was dead at that point.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Tunneling works really good in that mode too. Tunneling works really good in that mode.
Yeah, I know because Gary and I were wearing Twitch shirts and we experienced the tunneling.
I did the same thing. I played one game with my Twitch shirt and I was like just 2 dudes on me the whole game. I'm like, no, this is why we don't wear those shirts anymore, bro.
Yeah, one of them like did that thing where they pretend to hump you on the ground, and I was like,
oh
great,
WS awesome. Baby, WS.
Yeah.
I always tell them it doesn't count in real life when they do that to me. It doesn't count in real life.
Right.
So
anyways, overall W, right?
Overall
like,
W, yeah.
2 thumbs up.
I want to play it again before it goes away.
Yeah,
I'll talk with you about that, Gary.
I would love to do another session. 2v8 mode day.
So you two can, of course, do your 2v8 killer mode, but I'm going to try and set up a day where the 4 of us will do Survivor.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we do that before we...
It's got to be, for me, it's got to be before Tuesday.
We could try to do an 8-person lobby, right? 8-person Survivor lobby?
Among Us? We
could do Among Us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we could get more people in, actually. That would be very fun. That would be a good way to celebrate them doing 2v8 before... When is it going?
6th? August 6th?
Oh, shit.
August 6th or August... It's either 6th or the 8th. I just looked at it because it's going away while I'm on the road, and I leave on the
Tuesday or
6th.
Thursday.
No, I'm sorry, it's the Thursday or the 10th. I leave on the 6th, and it's done while I'm on the road before the weekend. So
damn.
I think it's the 8th.
God,
maybe try and get people together on Sunday, maybe this week.
Yeah, we'll try.
Just informally.
Yeah. I'm on vacation right now, so I should be available.
Cool. Yep. And then we'll set up a play date next week, John.
It's August 8th.
Yes. Yeah. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
No, talk about it right now, right in front of us.
It's time
cut this out.
Book club.
Book club.
Surprisingly, one more thing about DVD before we move on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
God, obsessed much? Jesus.
Sinow can't shut up about DVD.
We didn't talk about this on the podcast because it came out right after the last episode, but the Lara Croft stuff, I just wish the old skin looked like the old Lara Croft.
Yeah, it's the reboot, right?
Okay. No,
the old skin.
They brought out the old skin, and it's just different, and I don't like
pants?
it. No. Make it look like the old one, please.
Yeah.
And on the Lara Croft thing, actually, I will say my favourite bit, John, when we played together was when we heard her scream. And we both were just like,
mental.
What the fuck was
her scream is absolutely mental.
Is that a real person being
voice
murdered?
actor?
It feels like every character they bring out now, whichever voice actor goes in the booth, they go, you can go all in if you want to.
Yeah,
they're all trying to outdo each other with the screeches they do. It's so well done.
I think they actually stabbed them in the booth.
Well, you guys are British too. Like to me, as a Northwestern American, like male, like man, whatever, Northwest American, you know. What is with the voice actor for Lara? Like, why does she sound so bad? Like, why? Like, to me, it feels like an affront to British voice actors.
I haven't really listened.
Pay attention to the voice lines. I've been playing her so much.
They just sound like that here.
No, it's not true.
It's
So
true.
it can't be real. It can't be real.
It's hard
the voice
to think
acting
of them
is
as real
so
people.
bad.
I
No,
get it.
that's not. No, I just got done playing that. What was that game we just played? The
Still
fucking
Wakes the Deep.
Still Wakes the Deep. The voice acting in that game was incredible.
Oh,
10 out of 10.
English people sound like that.
Oh,
telling
not
you,
Scottish
bro.
people.
Yeah.
I'm not confused about the difference. I know English and Scottish people. have
No,
different
I'm not saying
accents.
that. I'm saying
Okay.
more like English
No,
people
saying-
sound like they're
being-
not real.
Someone's being condescending to English people, Doug.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She just sounds so. I speak to British people. Okay, like she's no. Whoever did the Lara Croft voice acting should be ashamed.
Wow.
Can you do that again?
Yeah. Like I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah. It sounds like she sounds like when I make fun of a British accent. No, they don't.
Imagine she's on an island with them, Doug.
Oh, she goes, oh, whoa. That's like, shut up, dude. Like, what are you saying? You sound weird, man. Like, no, I don't like it.
I did not expect
All of you.
Why? No, I'm offended on your behalf because that's not. There's no way. There's no way a real British person did the voice acting. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There's no
it's
way.
like if they
It's not
got a
real.
voice actor that was just like, well, howdy, y'all.
Well, why not?
I can
fuck
do
not?
that. If they needed a voice actor to do that, I can do it.
Voice acting is bad.
God
and
damn!
The chapter. I think the chapter was an L. I think that the Tomb Raider
Yes.
chapter is one of the worst chapters they've ever put out.
I
And
mean,
I'm disappointed. The
I have
legendary
zero
cosmetics. There's no legendary cosmetics. There's nothing.
John, you know how you don't own Skull Merchant or Knight? I probably won't buy Lara.
I don't
Yeah.
have her.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, for me that likes to collect all the Yas Queen characters. For me not to own Lara, that's a big deal. Yeah.
They didn't serve the Yas Queen old skin Lara well, and it was just that was what I was waiting for to buy the DLC.
The retro
Same.
skin. The retro skin is mid as fuck.
Yeah.
There's
Also,
just
the
one good costume.
The one where she has like a skull on her. I think it's from the Rift, where she wears like a skull hat.
That was good.
She just
I
looks
like that one.
she just looks like Alloy from is it Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that from one of the games though? Because the reboot Lara is very part of that kind of AAA action adventure kind of aesthetic. So maybe they all have a bit of an Alloy look to them after a while.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Perhaps.
I just hope that the big Tomb Raider fans are happy because like I just want someone to be happy because I think that us that are like more casual or like mid Tomb Raider fans are probably like we're not impressed and like I don't think it's gonna make any new Tomb Raider fans. The voice acting
it's weird.
is bad.
Tomb Raider's
The
one of those
fits
games
are
where I
bad.
can't imagine it has like a really super dedicated fan base.
Oh, believe me,
I'm
it
sure
does.
I'm sure they
I
exist.
think you're wrong. Yeah.
But I just sit there thinking, I just can't like Uncharted. I'm sure it does. I'm sure there's people that fucking love Uncharted, but I just can't imagine it being like that's your game.
I think,
You know?
with Tomb Raider, a lot of people back then, it was like the first game where they played as like, it was very clearly a woman that they were playing with who was like an action hero. So you
See,
get
I
a lot
loved
of
it
people
growing up,
who
yeah.
they have that nostalgia of being like, yeah, I got into games because for the first time I was able to play as a woman. And as a
Right.
girl, I was like, is gaming just a
Valid.
boys thing? Because in the 90s, there was all that shite, you know what I mean? So when I talked about Tomb Raider, because I play the old Tomb Raider games like once every year or so. Like, I actually love them.
Yeah,
even
someone's
though,
a big
Yeah,
fan.
they're fantastic. Yeah.
even
They
though
all
I'm just
want
like,
those.
God, they're so fucking frustrating. Why do I like this? Why am I programmed like this? But yeah, no, people are really dedicated to the old. I don't know about the new Tomb Raider stuff. Maybe that's what you mean, Gary, where it's like a bit too kind of white bread.
Well,
Well, it's gotta have.
Well, it's like
The
when a new
reboot
Tomb Raider comes
series.
out, I just can't imagine someone being like, oh, "There's a new Tomb Raider out." They all just look like generic AAA
Pass the
games
time.
to me, and that's
kinda-
what I mean
yeah.
by Uncharted. Uncharted looks. I mean, I like Uncharted, but I can't imagine someone be like, "That's my favorite game series."
they're kind of
It's just-
one and done games.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've played all 3 of the Tomb Raider reboots, and I have no desire to replay them. And I can't really tell you any particular sequence that I was like, "Whoa, so cool!" Because most of it was like quick time cutscenes or the typical like, "How do you get up there?" or some kind of like
Yeah.
really basic like tomb puzzle. It
Yeah.
never really went the extra mile with anything. It's very mainstream gaming, which is fine. Sometimes that's a nice chill out style game where you just experience the story, you know, and the gameplay is kind of secondary. But yeah, I think the reboot doesn't really have like that dedicated fan base. I think most Tomb Raider dedicated fans are fans of the original games, like Sinow says.
Yeah, which I can understand that. I mean, I'm not shit talking the Tomb Raider games because
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII's my go-to game, and that's got a very small dedicated like that's my game. So
No, I think
the newer ones I don't get because it's new Lara Croft as well, isn't it? It's new Lara Croft.
Yeah, it's the reboot.
Yeah,
that's
reboot.
kind of what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Is it's the reboot Lara.
It's like going to a convention for toast.
There's got to be something there because like
oh, hang on, what? Go back. Going to a convention for toast?
Like, who would be that?
Who'd be that
enthused as a specialist interest about something like toast?
Yeah,
she made it.
Like
she made
going
it
to a
into,
convention for toast.
What's there to talk about?
Right.
Yeah.
she made it
Sorry,
into
toast fans.
No, yeah, I think you're apologizing to me. It was
Doug's
toast.
like you're forgiven on behalf of the Toast Nation.
The exception is cinnamon toast.
Yeah, but I mean,
I've never had
French
that.
toast.
Neither have I.
Well, French toast for us is like savory, right? A lot of the time, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god, you
in
guys
the
make
US,
everything
it's
savory.
sweet. You make everything sweet.
Yeah, it's better.
Every time your kids have
God bless
cereal.
America.
Yeah.
Lara Croft has made it into DVD, Fall Guys, Fortnite, Ghost Recon. She's in
I've got her in
Rainbow
Fortnite,
Six
I think.
Siege. She's in Rainbow Six Siege. Like she's all over the
I was
place.
about to ask when she was going into Siege. She sure is.
No, she's a skin for Ash. She's Ash's like ultimate skin or whatever.
Oh, she is. She doesn't.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird, doesn't it?
They do that kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's a little strange.
All I'm
It's not
saying
just
is
the
like
character,
there's a
not just
market. There's a market. We may not know them, but they're out there. And she's in like every fucking game. So.
I'm the market, but I want her to look like the old version.
So no one's triangle tits.
Another thing, like Tomb Raider just as a franchise is in that like licensing stage of it. Because like the last game was what, Shadow of the Tomb Raider? That was like 2018, I think. It's been like 6 years since a mainline Tomb Raider game. I think so, unless there's been one that came out that I missed.
I think there's been a newer one, hasn't there? Like, I'm sure there was one. There must have been.
Maybe this is a Soul Calibur 3 situation.
Oh, yes.
We had that one.
I'm sure there was one where I'm sure like she shoots loads of bows or something in it. I remember there being a trailer.
Oh, no. They have unveiled her new design. Crystal Dynamics is working on a new Tomb Raider. A lot of the time when you see like a character go everywhere where there hasn't been a game for a while. Yeah, Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Kronos officially announced. So they're doing this to try and get people to think about Tomb Raider again before they release this new game.
Did it used to get made by, is it IDOS that used to make it?
IDOS used to make it,
yeah. But they're gone now, aren't they? They're gone.
Yes, they're gone. Or I think they've changed names to something else. So they're basically,
Because it's part of Square now, I think. Or Square Enix, I think.
I think Square Enix bought
them.
IDOS or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was taken over by Square Enix.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was like in 2009.
So when is she going into Final Fantasy 14?
The last mainline Tomb Raider game was Shadow of the Tomb Raider in 2018. So aside from that one that's coming up, that's the newest one.
It's been fucking ages.
So like there's nothing going on except them licensing out to every game in existence.
Yeah, they're trying to build the hype up again before this new one comes out. But
and the DVD fan base is where the hype is at.
It's just everywhere. Every online game.
Only play one game.
But that's why I play Alan Wake, by the way, Doug. Because I love him going like, oh, when he sees the killer. Oh!
Yeah. No, his voice lines
Really
are great.
goofy.
Alan Wake's voice lines are great.
They're great.
They're
I like when he says thank you when he gets healed.
Yeah,
very polite as well.
Thanks.
Just real quick, have you guys played the Alan Wake 2 DLC yet? Night Springs?
Not yet.
I haven't played it either. Okay, I was curious if you had.
I listened to the soundtrack a lot for Alan Wake 2. It's one of my favorite game soundtracks. It's brilliant.
Okay. Sorry, we were supposed to move on, and I said let's talk about DVD some more, and now it's been like 50 minutes. So, I apologize.
Little Kitty Big City.
Little Kitty.
Yeah. Let's talk about Little Kitty Big City, which was Gary's pick last time, which I think at this point was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 weeks ago now.
Everybody was sick.
So Little Kitty Big City is a game where you play as a cat, a little kitty, and you fall
in a big
out
city.
In a big city.
Spoilers!
You get scared by a dog. You fall out of your window from your apartment, which is higher up.
From your ivory tower.
Yeah, from your ivory tower. Quite literally, actually, because you have to climb ivory to get back up. And you fall down to the base level. You meet a raven or is it a crow that like teaches you the ropes. But you've got to try and basically find fish to gain enough energy to climb your way back up. It's a platforming game. You do little missions. You're a bit mischievous. It's very cute, very simple. A very simple game. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to finish, I think. Maybe
3-ish.
Yeah.
It depends on how 100% you go with things.
Yeah, so I did 100% it. It took me about 5 and a bit hours, I think, to 100% it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that, because it's quite short and knocking things off of the list doesn't take too long, I think a lot of players will naturally want to just 100% it. And I actually sometimes I prefer that over games where it's like you can never get everything.
Oh, I like all the really adorable games I play. There's something I find very satisfying about completing them 100%. Like if it's not like it's giant 100 hours to get it all done, I'm in for it. Like one of the most disappointing ones was Armored Core 6. One of the biggest games that I've been waiting for a long time. When I finally played it, I've got all the achievements except one because it's just going to be like spend 40 hours playing this game and getting all these S ranks. I'm like, nah, fuck it, it's not worth it to me. But you know, Little Gator Game and Albra Wildlife Adventure and Little Kitty Big City, I'm here for it. So yeah, what did you guys think of the game?
So that was funny. I think I was the first one to play because I played it like day one when you assigned it. I like played it right away.
Oh, okay.
And so by the time you were playing, I was watching you play it on stream, and you started like knocking shit off, and you're like, "This doesn't feel good." And I was like, Gary and I had different experiences playing this game because you didn't like knocking shit. I was like all about being mischievous and knocking stuff over. But no, I actually had a really good time with it. I didn't 100% it, but I got 100% of a lot of stuff in the first playthrough because I became like. When there's like task type stuff, like I wanted to make sure I got all the soccer balls in the nets. I did that.
Yeah.
I completed the chameleon challenges where I had to go around and find like all
that
the
was probably my favorite
spots.
mission.
That was super fun, super cool. I'm trying to think of. It's been a while now since I played it because like I told you guys, I played it like weeks ago.
Did you get all the ducklings?
I did. I got all the ducklings. Yep. There's something I didn't get all the hats.
Well, there's so many.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Important
and
question.
that would be like. Yeah.
What was your favorite hat? Because I have a very easy answer.
I think it was the devil hat.
Oh, you got a devil hat.
Yeah.
I like the witch hat was pretty cool. The witch hat was cool.
Yeah, I used the witch hat for a while, and then I got the little cowboy sheriff hat.
I never got the cowboy
You're just gonna stroll by without saying meowdy. I was like, this is it. Top tier.
Yeah. The cowboy hat was my favorite until I got the chameleon hat, the little top hat. That was really cute.
Top hat was great.
Or the sunflower hat. The sunflower hat slaps.
And that would be kind of one of my only complaints about the game. That two things that I would mark down as negatives. Number one, there was so many dope hats, and then like, when am I gonna wear them? You know, it wasn't like I'm not gonna really get a chance.
Get some
to
like
wear them
booties or something as well.
Like,
yeah,
like,
true.
You know,
like I would get a hat and I'd wear it for like 2 seconds, and then I get another hat, and I'd be like, well,
yeah,
I'm wearing this one now. Yeah.
And it's like once you 100%, I'm like, what are you gonna go back and just put on hats and run around the village? You know, maybe if there's like DLC and you can like wear the hats. I mean, I don't know. If there was like some component of like a reason for me to want to wear my hats more, I think that would make the hats cooler because the hats were really cool to collect, but it was just like I just have it now. The other thing is I think it was a little overpriced. I think that if you play it on Game Pass, it's free, but 25 was a lot. I think
was it 25?
Yeah, it was
$20. Yeah, I'd agree.
That's
that was
one major
that
complaint.
was really my only complaint. Is like, and if you have Game Pass, like if you're listening, you have Game Pass, you can play it for free. And I would like run, don't walk to go play it for free. That's awesome. It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
Super chill. Super like rewarding. There was so many satisfying like elements to the game. I thought like I enjoyed the platforming. I did have one really weird bug too, where I got stuck in a fucking bicycle, and I could repeat it. I recorded it in case you guys want to see it. Like it was a repeatable bug, and I was like, I stopped playing and I Googled how many people worked on the game to be like, is this an acceptable? And it was only a couple dudes. So I was like, okay, it happens.
Yeah. It's a very small
game design is hard. They're a small team and they nailed every aspect. I'm not going to like hold them to coals over one little issue, but yeah, you can definitely bug yourself out in a bike tire if you jump into it. Which
you can bug yourself out in a lot of different things.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's quite buggy in places. Yeah.
That was the only time that I had that issue, but which again, it's like a minor thing to me. Like,
most of the time you could get out of it. Like I found, like if I leapt, it got me out of the situation that I got stuck in.
And I had a great autosave. It was really restarting was easy, and you were like right back where you went. And you didn't lose. I never lost progress on a bug one time. That was easy.
On that note, I actually couldn't finish the game because I lost all my progress. So what happened was, I was playing the game for about 2 hours, and I was like, I had rescued all the ducklings. I had, done like, I was making great progress on things. I had over like 100 shinies. I was like, great, I'm gonna 100% this, no problem. And then the power cut, and then when I tried to reload the game, there was no save. And so I was like, oh, that sucks. And I was like, is there some way that I can like redo this? So like I verified the integrity of the game files. I like removed the corrupted save from the folder, because I was reading on the Steam forums, a lot of people actually had this issue of like the save getting corrupted, or like they try to load up the game and it says new game on all 3 files. And so a lot of people had these solutions like take the save file out and then reinstall the game and like all this stuff. And I tried it and nothing worked. And so I was like, well, I'll just start a new game. And so I started a new game in a different save file because I was like, what, I don't want to use the same one. And I got like probably like half an hour into it, like speed running back up to where I was. And I was like, I would hate for this to be all for nothing. Let me just see if it'll load. So I went back to the main menu and I went to load game and it was blank. There were no save files. And then I figured out it was a visual bug, partially at least. So I was able to load one of my saves. And when it didn't get stuck on 99% and I had to Alt F4 when it actually loaded, it loaded where I was in the game, but I lost all my collectibles and my task sheet was blanked out. And so it was like I had no progress. And so I had an absolutely nightmarish time trying to get past that. And eventually I had to be like, I just have to call it quits. Cause like, I was sick at the time and like I couldn't dedicate more time to it. So unfortunately I actually didn't get to finish it, which is a shame because I was enjoying the game. But that was like a kind of a big, I wouldn't say it ruined the experience for me, but it definitely left it off on a sour note. And I mean, it's not like the Steam forums were like full of people complaining about stuff like this, but I did find a lot of threads of people with save file issues. And even besides that, I did get stuck a few times where I had to reload. Like I tried to go into a garbage can and I got stuck, or like just like weird clipping issues.
That's
like
interesting. That. I didn't have any issues like that, but if there is like a repeatable save file issue for a game that's $25, that's unacceptable. Like that should be priority number one to get fixed. Like that's
yeah, because like now I'm walking away from it like I paid $25 for a game I played for 2 hours and I troubleshooted for another hour. I can't refund it, and so I've just kind of got it in my library. I don't want to play it again.
I think you could as a technical issue. Can't you say like this game doesn't work?
Well, usually after 2 hours, I haven't ever had a refund for that. But I mean, maybe they'll make an exception. Who knows?
Yeah, I suppose as well as content creators, I always have that thing where I'm very hesitant to refund something if I've made like a video or a stream of it properly, even if it was a shit experience. Do you know what I mean?
Like because I made more than $25 for my video on it, so I came out ahead, I guess. But
you beat little kitty.
Yeah.
So how was your experience with that?
So I really enjoyed it. I actually was on different medication at the time. Like I'm changing medication, and I kind of go through moments of having anxiety normally anyway, unfortunately, but this new medication was like making it go hardcore. It's like my heart was going really fast, and I was just like extremely anxious about every fucking thing on the planet. And I usually don't really like stuff that when people talk about like, yeah, cozy games are so healing and they help you with your anxiety. I actually find that they don't help me very much, because what helps me is to be completely engrossed in something, so I'm not thinking about anything else. So actually playing like a ranked match of like Overwatch back in the day was really good for me.
Something that pulled you away from the world.
Right. And a lot of people are like, you're insane, why would you play ranked PvP games to relax? But for me, you're like, I'm so in the zone that I'm not thinking about how I feel like shit. So I was quite surprised with Little Kitty, because it was quite there's something quite therapeutic about it, and I had a nice time just kind of, I think because it had the little like MMO style like go do this, go do that, I just kind of knocked it off, and it wasn't too like big as well, the city, so I wasn't getting like lost for really long periods of time being like, where is this thing? Sometimes it was like difficult to find something on purpose, but I liked the challenge. So I did have a really nice experience with it. I liked knocking things off of shelves and stuff. Obviously
I did too.
Viewed how cats are when they do that. They must have looked at a lot of like reference material to really kind of capture the way that the cat's little paw does that and how things just kind of plop off. It was nice being a little arsehole.
Oh yeah, I tripped so many people.
Oh, that's yeah.
Or their phones. I would pick up their phone and just take it away from them. They'd be like,
yeah.
Yeah, you could like properly like kill people. Like when they faceplant into the asphalt, they really like eat
shit. They'd stomp off all angry.
Yeah. And I also loved how some people would see you and immediately be like, oh my god, a cat, and try and pet you, and you would get like there was like a quest related to that, just because That's what it's like in real life. Some people, when they see a cat, they're like, "Oh my god!"
I got people to help me kick the soccer ball.
Oh yeah,
when I got stuck, that was cool.
So lots of cute little interactions with like other animals or the people, which I appreciated quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it was fun being a furry little arsehole.
Okay.
I will say, just as a minor complaint, not to get too nitpicky, but the dialogue sometimes went on for a really long time.
Oh, I mean, if we're gonna get nitpicky, I mean, I think I might be the most negative out of all of us, and I've got 100% in it and loved it. Because my god, that fucking duck wouldn't shut up.
Jim wouldn't shut the fuck up, right? Yeah.
Stop talking. Like,
I was thinking about that when I was playing. I was just like, I wonder how Gary's getting on with all this reading.
yeah, like, and I was doing voices.
I was too. Oh yeah, I was voicing everybody. Everybody had a ridiculous cartoon voice.
Yeah. And then by the end of the duck, I was like, you know what? I started skipping. I was like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'll go save your stupid ducklings. I don't care. Just leave me alone. Then you bring them back and keep talking. I think the game was pretty solid overall, considering it's a small team. The thing that I really liked about it, I really liked the shader. It's got like a toon shader, but rather than the usual, you have like a black thick line around all the objects. It had like a bit of a pink outline on the objects, which I thought was very charming. I really liked the list, like the objective system. I thought was really clean, as you were saying, Sino. Like it kind of gave you a focus. I bet you loved it as well, Doug. Like you just always knew, okay, I've got to go find 4 ducklings. I've got to go find.
I bet your neurodivergent ass loved it, Doug.
No, he's so right. Though. He's literally 100%. I was like, I was literally going to chime in before you even said that. I was going to say, I love that there was like never downtime. I always knew what I was doing. I always knew where I needed to go. I never felt like I was wandering, being like, what next? Like I just
there was always
a number of X amount of this thing to do. Like that made my
and it was and when you did it, it was rewarding. Like it always felt good to do the thing when you did it. Like it never felt
eating
like
people's fish.
Oh, that was great.
You have to mash the button to be like,
that lady with the hose. It was just
yes. That was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite parts. Where you had to like sneak behind her to get turn the water off to get up and get into the house. That was awesome.
I particularly liked once I had eaten like the 4 fish, and I was like, oh, I'm done. I was like, I can finish this game whenever I want to now. And it was really quick to be at that point, which I kind of liked. Because it meant I was like, I'm free to just enjoy the game as I want to now at my own pace. But I will say, out of curiosity, did any of you 3 find the tennis balls for the dog?
I did not. No. I actually had a bug with that because when you meet the dog, it's when you use the pet work for the first time. And so the game actually like took me to the dog and then immediately spat me back out where I was. And so I was like, what? I don't even know where that was or anything. And so I just kept playing the game and I never ran into the dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
I found all the tennis balls.
Well done, Doug.
But when I replayed it, it actually worked when I got to that point, and I was like, oh, and I was like, this is because I had found the tennis balls, I didn't know what to do with them, and the dog wants them. So
I went searching all over for those tennis balls, and then I went back to the garden. I was like, where are they? I was like, oh, they're in here. They're in his stupid backyard.
Oh, right there. Yeah, I was like, all in the little area.
Oh,
all of it's there.
Wait, it's only tennis balls that have like a certain marking on them,
right?
Rainbow
ones. The
rainbow ones.
Oh my god, because I kept finding tennis balls in random places and being like, oh, this must be it, and then I'd knock the tennis ball over and it's just a normal tennis ball.
Yeah, all 3 of them were in the garden with him.
Oh my god, stupid idiot dog.
Oh, I was like, that was the one where I was like, god damn it, because like all stream I completely forgot about it. When I finished streaming, I carried on playing it. I ended up looking around for ages trying to find them, and then they were in there.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, generally I thought the game was really cute. I will say, it felt very much like cartoon Stray.
Yeah. I would compare it unfavorably to Stray.
Yeah, like
I like Stray more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say. I think Stray is like a tech demo of cats, and I felt like this game took a lot of them bits from Stray, and I think it did it well. Like, you know, you nap in the position. There was a lot of things that was like, oh, this is in Stray. Oh, this is in Stray.
Yes.
Oh, this is in Stray. Which I think did hurt it a little bit, especially if it's 25. I didn't realize it was $25.
They've obviously put effort
a high price point for it. Yeah,
like it's not like a cheap, lazy piece of shit game or anything, but it's just hard to justify spending that much for an experience like that.
Yeah, like I'd say it's a $15 to $20 game for me. Maybe like $16.
15.
I was gonna say like 10.
I'd say 10, 15,
yeah.
15 max. Like 15, I'd still feel.
I was gonna say
little
like
bit
a buck 50.
No, not that bad either.
Free
Like it was
will.
definitely.
But my
No,
brain's
I
always
enjoyed it.
like, I'll pay like £5 for an hour of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's like, if I'm having fun for an hour, that's a bargain. And I think you can get easily 4 hours out of this game.
Wait
An
for a sale
enjoyable-
kind of game.
Yeah.
And then
And
pick it
I
up.
really liked collecting
Definitely.
the hats and stuff. And I know you guys were saying like, why is there a reason to change your hats? Just because the hats are just there to be cute. Like, I don't think there's any purpose to them. It's just like I can now look like a sunflower. Oh, now I'm a cowboy. It's like a little cute moment. I'm now a bunch of grapes. Yeah, I loved the game. I thought it was really cool. I liked just being a nuisance. It did feel like a bit more like Stray, but in a bit more of an open sandbox kind of location, which I appreciated.
I wonder if I liked it more because I never played Stray. Because I didn't play Stray.
Maybe.
So to me, it was like I really enjoyed it, and I was
Oh,
like, I
maybe,
spent the
yeah.
whole time like really like convincing myself why I like it so much. I wonder if it would have felt differently if I had played Stray.
Stray
I think I was
is,
playing Stray.
has a bit more meat to it. So if you quite liked being a little
Yes.
cat, but you want something a bit meatier, Doug, I'd really recommend
Yeah.
Stray.
Because Stray has like actual side quests and like characters that talk to you. They don't talk like, I mean, like obviously they talk in Little Key Big City, but like, they'll like have dialogue with you, I guess, like meaningfully as part of their quests. And yeah, you didn't really get that in Little Key Big City, so it does kind of feel it's a little bit more immersive, I would say. Yeah.
I also did like the sense of humor in Little
So
Kid
did I.
Big City. I thought the tone was very good, and all the puns of the hats. That's the prize for the hats is the puns.
All the puns.
Yeah, the
I'm gonna
puns are
be
good.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a dick here and say I liked the humor, okay, but there were some times when they kept going on and on and on that I was like, you think you're really clever, don't you? The writer for this thinks they're really fucking funny, and that started to annoy me a little bit.
I do think sometimes the dialogue overstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
Like it's like, let me go do the mission now. Like
like
as
the
much fun
duck.
as it is being, the duck spoke
Duck, it's like-
so much.
Yeah, it's like we get it. You're a quirky little duck dad. Shut the fuck up already.
Yeah, like it went from funny to okay, I hate you a bit now.
Yeah, shut up.
Just
So-
overwriting maybe.
Same
a bit.
with the
That's
what
yeah,
was the
overwritten.
what was the not raccoon? I forget what it was.
Oh, the
Oh,
yeah, the
Tanuki?
Tanuki.
Tanuki, yeah. I like stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tanuki
Yeah,
did blab on for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a fun voice for him, so it made it up for me in the moment. But yeah, he did. There was a point where I was just like, I like doing this voice, but I'm having to do it a lot for
Yeah.
this guy. He's real talkative.
But generally,
W game.
except for the saving issue, John, that sounds fucking horrific, and I wouldn't
really.
be surprised
Yeah,
if you're like, this game's trash.
Well, no, I'm not gonna just like let that ruin it for me. I had a good time up to that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good choice overall. Like generally happy.
W
Yeah.
game. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm glad I played it, and yeah, W.
Yeah, me
So-
too. I enjoyed it.
Before
Had a
we
lot of
do
fun.
the tier list, I'll just quickly say what the next game will be.
Sinow's
Oh yeah. Okay.
pick. We need some kind of like theme song or something. Book club. Book
da, da, da,
club.
da.
Oh, we should make one. We can make a jingle.
Forgotten
Club.
Shitty Book Club.
This
Yeah,
is
like
perfect.
Post Malone. We're gonna Post Malone do it.
Yeah, we'll just do this every week.
You just gonna call him up, John? Just you got Post Malone on the phone.
Yeah. Hey, Post, we need a
Sorry to
theme
ask
song
for
Spine Chill,
sorry to
bro.
ask for another favor, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get a little jingle for this.
Call up
You know how
Post
you owe
Malone
me,
on the
bro?
Post phone.
Spine Chill, bro.
What
Spine Chill.
what was that? What was that, Sinow? Please repeat what you said.
Calling up Post Malone on the Post phone.
Yeah, I
I
heard
hated when
it.
you said
I
that.
just chose to not respond.
So I actually just got a job with a game developer for they're making a game called Little Kitty Big City 2. I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah.
the writing
Yeah.
on it.
You'll fit in great with the dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
huge.
working on my pun game. So I've made an executive decision. I was going to do Crow Country,
Mm.
Oh,
As my book club. but I made an executive decision during this podcast. And I've decided that my book club choice is now Fez.
What?
oh, cool.
Because I
That's-
love Fez. I loved it.
Because we were talking about, Phil Fish
Phil
earlier.
Fish.
Yeah. And or if you find the time, watch Indie Game the movie.
I would love
The
to rewatch that
documentary.
movie, and I've always wanted to play Fez. I love this choice. I'm so happy.
I played a few minutes of Fez where I was just not in the mood for it. And I've always
Okay.
wanted to go back to it because I
Okay.
was like, I need to
Yeah.
be in the mood for this kind
Yes.
of like puzzly type of game. So I'm excited to check it out.
I loved it when it came out. So I wonder if I'll go back now and be like, well, we've had a lot of indie games. Maybe I was like more bowled over by it because it felt fresh at that point. Or will I still absolutely adore it? But I remember getting like very into it, and it's very atmospheric as well. Like lots of kind of rain and like thunder going off at certain points. There's lots of different like kind of biomes it changes. So
it also has a very pretty art style. Like,
yes,
very striking. Me and Linksy were doing this guess the game thing whilst we were waiting for the queue times.
Oh yes, I love that, by the way.
And one of the pictures came out. I was like, that's Fez. Like I haven't played the game, but I recognized the art
instantly
style,
recognizable.
Like, yeah. Sorry, Doug, you were gonna.
No, I was just gonna say you guys would be surprised. I 100%ed Fez on Xbox back in the day. So I played the shit out of this game, dude. Like I 100%ed it. I got the perfect game on Xbox 360, dude.
Damn.
Because back when I watched Indie Game the movie, and I watched The King of Kong like right around the same time, and I got like super into it.
Yeah, King of Kong,
right? Yeah, and I got super into indie games, and so I like 100%ed that. I tried to 100% Meat Boy, but I couldn't do it. I got like 80% or 90% on Super Meat Boy. Like,
I feel like if it's a game that came out before DBD, you're much
you're
more
so
likely
real
to play
for that.
it.
Yeah, you're so real for that. Yeah,
yeah.
Anything popular that happened before DBD, like that was where my life changed. Like, I think it was like I was really into Blizzard games. I played World of Warcraft for a long time, and then like I played Diablo. I played HOTS like crazy. That was the first game I streamed. I played a lot of Hearthstone. And then when DBD, when I discovered, actually it was Friday the 13th that got me started on ASIM, and then I went back to DBD, and that was like from like 2017 on, it just shut down. Anything that came out in 2017 or got popular 2017 and on, I probably missed it till the last couple of years. So yeah, believe it or not, I have like 100 or however more. I don't remember how many hours. I have as many hours as it takes to 100% Fez. Like I played that game.
Let's go.
So much. So it'll be fun to revisit.
All right, everybody, it is now time for something that we've been teasing for weeks now. The console tier list.
Let's go.
Woo!
Oh my god. Bow, 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 bow.
It hasn't even happened yet, and we're applauding it.
We're so good.
We just know it's going to be good. We know it's going to be good.
That's right. So, we'll be trying to reach a consensus opinion on where to rank each of the major consoles. So we won't be ranking every console that's ever existed, but we'll be doing some of the more popular ones, the ones that everybody knows and that most people have played.
Sorry, Doug. Doug's a little older, so he's played some of the more obscure ones.
We had a little conversation beforehand, and I was a little upset that the Nokia N-Gage and the Virtual Boy weren't on the list, but we'll be all right. We'll get through it.
The Virtual Boy is actually on the list, but I don't think we'll be talking about it.
F. Yeah. F tier.
I mean, yes, I played Virtual Boy when it was like new, so I know.
I think we should start. I think we should start with the granddaddy, and I'm just gonna put them in C tier. The NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, released in 1985. What are our thoughts on the NES?
Can I go first?
Go, Gary, go.
Yes.
You may.
In my household, my brother kind of dictated the consoles we had, and we were very Sega and Sony. So when it comes to Nintendo, I don't have, like, especially old Nintendo consoles, I can't really have that much of an opinion. I don't think I've ever played the SNES, so...
Oh my god, we're gonna talk about that later. Okay.
So I'm just throwing that out there that, you know, there's a reason that a lot of those old kind of JRPGs from that era I didn't get a chance to play, because
I mean that is fair,
out.
But as an outsider looking in, you could still form some opinion, right?
Oh yeah, I have opinions, but I just wanted to say that I haven't played on this console, but I have thoughts about the games.
I was about to say, when has it ever stopped you, Gary? From
I still remember the Resident Evil conversation and like a nightmare, a waking nightmare for me, vividly.
Oh, this is okay. So you guys keep going. I have to adjust my camera real quick.
No,
sorry.
Okay.
Keep going.
Well, I will say that the Nintendo Entertainment System was my first ever gaming experience. I remember it clear as day. I lived in Cordova, Alaska. My father was a manager at a grocery store, and he brought home an NES. And I was
what was the weather like?
It was like 3. It was very cold. It was cold there.
Cold?
Frigid. And I was like 3, maybe 4. I don't remember. I can't swear that it was the year it came out, but it was when it was a brand new thing. It was like the console, and he brought home a Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Mario Brothers, and Duck Hunt.
Yep.
And that was like my first experience was playing games with him. Funny story about my lore, my dad's lore, is that he got so addicted to Super Mario Brothers that he had to like swear off video games forever. Like it was affecting his life.
Really?
Staying
Like
up.
he was
was
the first one, the original.
Yeah, he was staying up. He was the OG. He was staying up all night playing
Wow.
games. It was affecting his marriage. It was affecting him at work. And so he was like, "Honey, I'm putting down the controller." But it didn't stop me from
the original World of Warcraft, Super
Yeah,
Mario Brothers.
true,
Wow.
true. Yeah,
I've heard quite a few like Gen Xer types say that they basically were like, I had to stop playing video games because I knew that could be the end for me very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, gaming addiction's a real thing, and I suppose like, back then it was like that was like a shock to the system of like I have something to focus my brain on now.
No,
Right.
I mean, I've probably got it
like that before.
But I've turned it into a career, so I can get away with it.
Same.
Yes.
Actually, Doug, your story is very similar to mine. The NES was my first gaming console. I got it as a hand-me-down, actually, from my cousin, because he got an N64, and it was that type of parent thing where they were just like, well, you got the new one. What do you need the old one for? And so, even though, we know that there's nothing similar between them really at all, but I got the NES, and I got like a ton of games with it, so I got all the classics. I got Duck Hunt, I got all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, 1, 2, and 3. Some of the best co-op gaming experiences I've ever had. I still don't think I've beaten Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I've gotten close, but that's a hard game. I obviously like Pac-Man and all those classic games, along with some
Punch Out, Battletoads.
I actually never played Battletoads, but I think it would have frustrated the hell out of me.
Was Battletoads on the Mega Drive as well?
I think so. I remember Battletoads being on the SNES, but
I'm trying to think because I played Battletoads, but I don't. If that's on the, maybe I have played the SNES.
It might have been
really young, so.
Oh, okay. I was about to say it might have been on the Genesis. I think it was on the Genesis. So if you had a Genesis, then it might have been on there.
No.
I have a lot of nostalgia for the NES. However, I will say I'll wait until we all give our opinions on it, but I think there are some major negatives with the NES, actually.
Major negatives?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but Sinow, go ahead and give your first impressions if you...
So just to confirm, Gary, it was ported to the Mega Drive.
I looked it up too. That's fine.
And the Game Gear. And the Amiga CD32 in 1994. Thanks, Wikipedia. Unfortunately, not on the tier list. The Amiga CD32 in 1994. But I really like the NES. I would say, in my head, I was quite a Nintendo boy growing up, actually.
Yeah, me too.
And then I became more of like a kind of Sony, Sega over time. I was very fortunate that we had 1 or 2 Nintendo consoles when I was growing up, and then I had like a babysitter who her husband was very like Sony and Sega. So when I was very young, I managed to play a little bit of everything, which I'm very thankful for, actually. But I would say the NES for me is like below SNES, but it was like the important first step, right? So it's like the SNES is when they kind of like refined what the NES started. But it's a good console. Looking at the controller makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. It's very square.
That is one of the major negatives I wanted to bring up. I don't know when the last time you guys played an NES was, but the controller might be the most uncomfortable of all time to use for long periods. Between the D-pad, like you have to press pretty hard on uncomfortable buttons. They don't have much give at all, especially if they're like original controllers and they're like 40 years old at this point. Like they are stiff. They do not feel good to use, and like it is very boxy. It's just not a very comfortable controller at all. So I think that's kind of a major negative for it, honestly.
Gary, as a game dev, you might have heard about this or could give some insight, but I wonder if it was the same back then where a lot of controllers are made primarily based around, would a child be able to hold this comfortably? Have you heard that?
No. I mean that makes sense. Like my brain, my brain looks at that controller and goes, I don't know why they made it a square. I have held one. When I was younger, I went to it was in London. There was a gaming museum exhibit in the Museum of London, I think it was, in the Science and Tech Museum, and I got to experience like every console. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
But like, so I have held that controller. I remember thinking, this is a weird shape because you look at like every other console where it's like rounded shapes are just more comfortable and more appealing to not just children's brains, but everyone's brains. Like square shapes tend to look
being.
Quite, it's a very strange design choice to make such a rectangular
if it's
control.
just like
control hurts, man.
A late 80s, early 90s idea of like making something look futuristic, you know?
Yeah.
Where they were like, it's going to be like kind of square and grey and it's going to look like the future. With the red
I wonder if it was like the transitional period between arcade and console. Because arcade machines are very square.
For sure. Yes.
So I wonder if they just looked at that and were like, just put that there. Maybe they thought people were going to play like this or something. Like
the NES was marketed as kind of like arcade at home. In fact, a lot of the games were like arcade ports. Like, for example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, one of my favorites.
Yes.
It's called the arcade game. Unfortunately, it's nothing like the arcade game. It's fucking bullshit. The NES version. It's awful.
Yes.
But I played it constantly. But they had tons of arcade ports like that for the NES. And, of course, they had to kind of like rebuild them from the ground up. It wasn't like a straight up port, really. It was like kind of a completely different game. But it was kind of the idea was arcade at home, yeah.
So where are we putting it?
See, that's another thing I wanted to bring up about this is like, because I'm kind of struggling with it, is like, I love the legacy of the NES, you know, it's like you had the Atari, of course, but the NES, I felt like was like the landmark early game console. Mm-hmm. So I respect the legacy. However, you know, the controller's really uncomfortable. The games, I don't know when the last time you guys played an NES game was, but that shit is so hard. Like, just an average NES game is so fucking hard. Like, you've got like permadeath, like you run out of continues. They give you like 3, and like you can earn some if you get, you know, enough points for an extra life, but like you have to grind for an hour to get that. Again, and there's no save system. It's like,
is that the arcade system coming over? Because those games are obviously designed to eat your coins.
Yes.
Right. So
I think they were still designing it like that.
That mentality is kind of like just carried over. The game design hadn't evolved for the household yet. It was, how do we sync people's lives?
I can probably count on one hand the number of NES games that I've actually beaten. Like, I never beat Double Dragon. I never beat any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. I never beat Batman for the NES, which is an incredible game, but it's so fucking... They're all so hard.
Here's the meta. John, here's the meta. Here's how you beat NES games, bro.
Yeah.
You play it on an emulator and you use a save state emulator.
Exactly.
Because that's how I did it. That's how I beat Battletoads. That's how I beat basically every NES game I beat, and I beat because I used a save state. Yeah,
with an emulator.
You had to.
So you have to take the console out of the equation for the NES to be like beatable. Yeah.
So is it for that reason we're gonna have to knock it down somewhere?
I think a respectable B.
That's kind of what I was thinking is B.
Yeah.
See, I always overrate stuff. I would have said A. But I'd be willing to talk down to B because again, Lisa, the controller literally hurts. Like I have big hands and I've always had big hands even when I was a kid. And like I will get the worst cramps almost immediately using that fucking controller. And it was the same way when I was a kid, right? So bad controller, impossible games.
Yeah.
Gary barely played it. It's like all these things make it a B tier console.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I love the NES.
Yeah.
It was my first. It was your first.
Oh, I love it too.
But yeah.
It's satisfying to load games up though.
To
pop them in and then slap them down, and also the cartridges were quite good for not breaking.
Yes, that is true. You had to blow on them because I was about to say another drawback of the console is putting the cartridge in, hitting the power, and then being like, "Oh, it's just a blue screen," or "There's a bunch of static," or
the flashing
menu screen comes up, and you got to blow on it. Yeah.
The blowing did work though.
It did, yeah.
Although
blowing tends to work.
I'm just thinking back to the Mega Drive. We'll get to that one, but like,
apparently though, like. Professionals were like, actually, we think that blowing on the connector is a bad idea because you're putting moisture on it, so over time it'll ruin it. But I'm like, listen. When the game didn't work and you blew the thing and you put it back in and it worked again, the results spoke for themselves. I'm blowing on that shit.
Exactly. I agree.
I think it depends on the kind of kid you were. If you were a spitter when you blew, then...
Ugh.
Anyway, next console.
Anyway, next console, let's go with the Sega Dreamcast. We're moving way forward on this one, and I'm not going to have as much to say because I didn't own a Sega Dreamcast. I had to play it at my friend's house, and I only played Sonic, so that tells you about how much I know.
I will say, like, so Dreamcast, because my household, again, Sega, we had it. So the Dreamcast, I remember it came with Choo Choo Rocket, which was a little game where you have to kind of direct mice to get to the rocket for the cats could eat you. That game was fucking awesome. That came with it. And then I will say the Dreamcast had a very limited variety of games, but the games it did have, I think, were awesome. Crazy Taxi,
yes,
Ikaruga was on it. Obviously, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
It suffered the Nintendo problem, where a lot of the good popular games on it were kind of like related to Sega themselves, but there wasn't always the greatest third-party support.
Yeah, and I think I remember hearing about, apparently Sega were trying to work with Xbox to try and like have the games on both consoles at one point, but then that fell through, which was kind of the death nail for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I will say the Dreamcast also had a very innovative memory card system. So the Dreamcast controller, which is a fantastic controller, by the way, you could put the memory card into the controller and take it out, and it was like a Tamagotchi. So, for example, in Sonic Adventure, they're called chows. Is that right? You could take them around like a little Tamagotchi and look after them and train them, and then plug it back in, and then trade it back into the game, into Sonic Adventure, and continue to look after them in that game. And I thought that was crazy.
So this is the most me and Gary like difference but same as all time, right? Like what I fucking loved about the little memory card was that it had a little LCD screen, and when you played NFL 2K, you could call your plays on it. So you could hide them when you're doing couch or playing someone on the couch. You could do your play calling on NFL 2K without them. That was the first time you could ever do that. You could call your plays without the person sitting there watching you call your plays. So I'd be able to. I was like, I was blown away by that. This is the coolest thing ever.
It was crazy technology, and oh no, go John.
I played Madden a lot back then, but I never played it on a Dreamcast. But it was like my friends would whisper about it. They'd be like, "I heard on a Dreamcast, you can do it. Like they don't even get to see your plays."
That's what I'm saying.
And so I always wanted to, but I never could.
Yeah. And then there was some great OG games. Power Stone was on Dreamcast at launch. It was so fucking good. I will never forget that game. The Sonic Adventure games were really fun. Was it like Tenmu? What was the one that was like the
Shenmue?
Oh, Shenmue.
Shenmue.
Oh yeah, that was Dreamcast,
insane, right? Like
and they make a new one recently.
They made a third one.
They did make a third one that was kickstarted, and it kind of got shat on.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I knew something had been announced about it. I didn't know if it came out or not, but the original Shenmue is great.
It had built-in online. It had online gameplay. You could plug it in and play it on the internet, which was like incredible to me. I was able to play sports games online for the first time with that console. Which is a huge thumbs up mark for me. Obviously, you know how much I love online multiplayer. I think Dreamcast for me was. I got one. It came out. I remember. I'll never forget. The U.S. release date was 9/9/99.
Yes,
they did it on purpose. So
very
it was like
cool.
all lines. And I got one at launch. One of my friends who was like way richer and more nerdier than I was, his parents were like super down to hook him up with whatever, and so he got like one imported from Japan because they came out super early. So I got to play Power Stone. I got to play some of the other stuff like before it even came out in the US, which was kind of cool. So yeah, I have a lot of really good memories of Dreamcast. I'm gonna overrate it big time because of, again, the play calling on NFL games was insane. You could do it on NBA and stuff too. Like you could do all kinds of cool shit.
Right. Yeah.
They always had everything. Everything had integrated like support on the little Tamagotchi screen. And then like Power Stone is like my favorite fighting game of all time. And I played so much of that game when it came out. Like it's insane.
I don't think I can overstate how influential the Dreamcast has been for me as a person. Because, for example, the name Sinow comes from an enemy in Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah.
Which was a Dreamcast game.
I didn't think about that.
It was like kind of calling it an MMO. It's like a kind of room-based MMO where you like go into rooms of 4. So some people might think more of kind of Monster Hunter than like just finding people in a field. But the Dreamcast was like the first to really bring that as like a home console experience rather than like it's something that was on PC before that. Shenmue, taking place in Yokosuka, which is just to the south of like central Yokohama, where I actually went there when I was on my year abroad to where Shenmue takes place to look at it. Because Shenmue was one of the first times I played a video game that I was like, oh my god, what is this country? I want to learn everything about this country. And it was one of the first times I felt like I played a video game that was like, this is a video game that's not... It feels very different. I'm like walking around and talking to people a lot. And I was like, this is really cool that I'm doing this in a game and it's not just like, get to the end of the level and beat the bad guy, which of course is fun too, but The Dreamcast for me, that kind of like new millennium aesthetic where everything looked like Michael Jackson's Scream video. They all thought it was going to look like Space Stations and Space Channel 5. I just absolutely fucking adore this console. It just so much of what came out, Crazy Taxi and stuff as well. I'm just like,
so good.
It was so exciting. I was like, the new millennium is going to slap, and it's going to be colorful. It's going to be cool. It's going to have online games. The Dreamcast for me is like an S. I cannot gush about it enough. Yeah, big time.
I don't know if I go S. Only because I think the library was a little thin. That was my only complaint.
Yeah.
I think the library is thin.
I can understand.
Yep.
I think the Dreamcast was a console that is an S tier console, but it was just slightly before its time to shine.
Sega did that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
They had a tendency to release things a bit too early.
Because I think it was just as powerful as a PS2. I think it was better than the Xbox, but like they came out after and were like ready to go with, as Doug was kind of pointing out, lots of games. The Dreamcast, the console was there, but the games weren't yet, and I think that's what held it back a little bit. I say like I can only think of like 5 or 6 games that we owned on the console. Like it didn't have that many. So I think S would be it just because of it was just before its time. It should be an S. If it come out a year later or something, maybe it would have been an S.
Like the online game.
The technology's so clever in it though.
Yeah. The online gaming thing might be a bit too early as well for like a lot of the Western consumer base. They might not have had as much internet available yet, so it's harder to convince people.
You know what? I would go S actually. The memory card is so fucking clever, and like the consoles. What consoles have come out since then that have achieved that? They've all taken a step back and not done something as innovative as that. Like the Dreamcast slapped. That was a good console. Like do we have a bad word to say about it as a console?
You're not gonna have like a hard time beating me into submission over this because I fucking loved it. I bought it day one and I probably had as many hours on the Dreamcast as any console that ever came out. Like it's gonna. I'm not gonna fight. I would still I would still personally put it A because like again the library was thin. But I'm not gonna. If you guys put it in S, I'm gonna just shut my mouth and be like,
I can't really have input on it because I haven't played it. But I will say it seems a little weird to me to put it in S. But I'm not familiar, so I'm willing to bend to y'all's judgment on this one.
I think maybe top of A.
Okay.
Just because
it won't be top today. It won't be top today. No way.
Okay, well, if we and it's worth noting that this list is fluid. So if we get to a point where we're like we want to move it around a little bit, we can.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think
this is fluid and very subjective.
Yes. Yeah, because I think S tier is maybe more for like this console was great and it was successful. Like the Dreamcast is a console that kind of was amazing for a bit and then disappeared, and Sega haven't really recovered since then. That was their last console.
Yeah, true.
Unfortunate too, because like you said, how innovative it was and how for its time it was. I wish that Sega would have continued to.
I know they just sell Sonic into everything.
Yeah, sell me a $60 Sonic game now.
First big JRPG to have a main character die during the plot was a Phantasy Star game. They did it before Final Fantasy VII did. But
really?
Of course, everybody remembers Final Fantasy VII doing it. But yeah, it happens in a Phantasy Star game, and Phantasy Star 4. Like your kind of mentor character who's really cool, and there's like a kind of big sister to you dies, and it's like a moment. Obviously, it's a moment, but yeah.
Spoilers.
I was about to say I can think of one earlier than that, but I don't want to spoil it, so I don't know.
Phantasy Star 2 as well, I think.
Let's move on to the next one. PlayStation 1. We have a Sony console up there. The PS1. Ooh. What are everyone's thoughts on the PS1?
So a little bit about me, obviously. What you guys are going to notice a recurring theme here is that I was a huge video game person. Like I got all these consoles like when they came out. Like had a great childhood, and I got hooked up. This was my passion. My
pre-DBD Doug sounds so happy.
Yeah. Dude, I was so dude, and I fucking it's true. It was before I got.
You have so much joy and wonder and so much like rich life experience.
All the math.
Well, and I was like obsessed, man. I had subscriptions to EGM. I had subscriptions to Game Informer. I had subscription to every gaming magazine, and like when the consoles came out, I got them right away.
I just see this dramatic scene of like DVD comes out, dog plays it once, then turns away and just starts throwing these magazines in the bin. I don't need these anymore. Fuck this console. I don't need that.
So I got a PlayStation 1 right away. I wasn't of working age yet, so I had to like beg the folks, but they hooked me up. Because again, like when I was in high school, I had a high school job, and that was what I spent my money on video games. But I remember getting a PlayStation 1, and obviously, like we all recall, like that was like really, I think that was probably my first real experience like with the horror games, right? Like with the Resident Evil series, and like I'm trying to think of one that would have predated the PlayStation 1. I can't think of anything.
Well, there was Alone in the Dark, but was that PlayStation 1?
That was a PS1 game.
The original Alone in the Dark. Yeah.
I don't think I
played Clock Tower for the Super Nintendo, but that was like basically PS1 era. That was like 95.
Okay.
Yes.
96. So for me, PS1's going to get a lot of nostalgia points for the Resident Evil series, where I discovered Resident Evil 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, those are huge.
I played Final Fantasy 7. I played in 100% of that. Got everything. What else? And that was like Golden Kokobo. Like I did that. I did like all the weapons and shit. I did everything in Final Fantasy 7. Like there's nothing in that game that you could do that I didn't do back in the day.
What did you call it?
Kokobo? Chocobo?
Chocobo.
What am I? Chocobo?
I was like, when you said Kokobo, I was like,
I played the game, but I'm still
what
in
game's he talking about?
Down in Kokobo.
Yeah. It is a made-up term, so I'll give you grace for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Chocobo.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I didn't know what to call it. I was from Alaska. I didn't know what to call it, man. No one around there knew what I was
I'm from
about.
Alaska, so I don't know what to call this imaginary Japanese bird creature from these video games.
See, thank you. It's exactly
it's
what I was trying to say, yeah.
Yeah, did they ever say Chocobo or whatever?
No, it's not.
It was just text,
they have
right?
said Chocobo multiple times. They have sung the word Chocobo in Final Fantasy 13 too.
Oh, I mean, like at the time, in 7,
in 7, yeah.
Oh, in 7? Oh, I see.
They don't say it, right?
Don't think so.
They don't speak until 10.
Right.
Did you guys ever play Jet Moto?
No.
Jet Moto was a big one for me on PlayStation. It was like a jet ski racing game. It was they had like 3. I think they had like 3 or 4 of them. Definitely 2 or 3.
No, I never played that one.
I only played wave race games, but
same.
Probably
we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, PS1 may have like one of the strongest libraries of games of any of these consoles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've briefly touched on it, but like the Resident Evil original trilogy, you had Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill. You had JRPG Heaven, right? Like we were just talking about this the other day. Sinow, Vagrant Story. There was Xenogears, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 7, obviously. Like this was kind of the tail end of like JRPG.
And 8 and 9.
Did you guys play Suikoden? You play Suikoden?
Suikoden, yes. Those games are really good.
Yeah,
More of a kind of niche fan base, but
I feel like this is like JRPG heyday in a lot of ways, but they also had like great action games like Resident Evil and whatnot.
Siphon
Can I chuck into this the best library?
Metal Gear Solid
is an overlooked element of
Metal Gear Solid
games. And the PS1 I think had the best generation of them was movie games.
FMV games.
Toy Story was awesome
like
on the PS1. Yeah, like Hercules is another good one. Like when Disney would release a film, you'd get a PS1 game and it would slap. It'd be
remember Tarzan?
Yeah, Tarzan on the PS1.
Tarzan slapped. Yep, you're right.
I'm
hit.
Isn't there like a Mission Impossible game on the PS1 that's quite fun?
Probably.
If I recall.
Maybe. I'm not really sure.
I'm not even a Mission Impossible guy, but I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Honestly,
we didn't mention Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk was a
I
PlayStation exclusive.
was gonna say like PS1 had great licensed games because like there's a Spider-Man game for PS1 that's incredible. That's based on the cartoon, the '90s cartoon. There also was a sequel that wasn't great, but like the original game, I was like at that point I was like, this is like the best superhero game I've ever played. And of course it's been passed since then, but yeah,
Tomb Raider
that was
as well.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. Yeah, you guys.
Gran Turismo.
If you said Dreamcast should be A because of like the library not being as good, I would agree with you as much as I obviously love the Dreamcast. But for me, the PlayStation 1 is my favorite console of all time, and I think it's an easy S rank of all time.
I can't. How could you argue against an S rank?
Harvest Moon. First time I played a Harvest Moon game was on the PlayStation 1. Fucking adored that.
Oh, Spyro,
Tekken,
the Dragon.
Spyro,
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. Oh man, like there were
Crash
some
Bandicoot, yeah.
good like Nintendo style games, like collectathons and platformers and stuff.
Well, in the fighters, remember Tekken? Wasn't Tekken exclusive?
I was about to say,
Tekken 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Tekken 2 and 3 are the best in the series, and they're both on the PS1. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's, I'm putting it
come on now.
this year.
It's
And
easy,
like,
yeah. It's
and-
like
and-
you can't
yeah,
argue
shit,
with
Dance
that.
anyway.
around it for long
And
enough.
we're focusing a lot on the games of the PS1, but we are forgetting that it's also got one of the best controller designs. A design for the controller
yes.
which has been
They still
kept
use
through
today.
2, 3, 4.
Stop.
Like the controller has not adjusted
Well,
that much from the
still my
original
favorite.
PS1. Like it's a bit bigger in places and stuff, but generally
Yeah.
they've kept the same design. And then the memory cards.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Some of like the little images you'd have when you were looking at your save files that was been on
Yes.
at the time, that was fucking amazing.
I want
Yes.
I want those again somehow. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I
Yeah.
want those little images where they move when you highlight them.
And if we're going to talk about the technology that was hidden within the device, I'm going to bring up Metal Gear Solid, where they were able to, in the game, read that information through, Psycho Mantis. And I thought that was, I remember that blowing my mind as a kid when he was
Same.
making the,
Same.
you could get when the vibrating controllers came out shortly after the initial release. And he could make them vibrate, and he was reading your memory card information and stuff. And it was like, that was so cool and innovative.
If you're a bit on the younger side, just to explain, there's a boss in Metal Gear Solid that has like psychic powers, and the game is programmed to read your save files on your memory card and also what controller port you're using. And by default, if you're using the first controller port, you can't beat Psycho Mantis easily or at all, because he can tell what you're going to do when you press the buttons, and it's supposed to be like he's reading you. So one of the first like playground everybody spread the word things was you have to put your controller into controller slot 2, and then he can't read your inputs anymore, so he isn't able to dodge all your shots, and he can like see what games you've been playing, so he'll be like, I see you like to play Castlevania, if you've got like a save file for it. And that is like a mind equals blown moment as a kid.
It's one of the finest examples of breaking the fourth wall in video games. I
Still
actually
to
had,
this day.
in one of my lectures, I had to be like, don't break the fourth wall, because you won't do it as well as Metal Gear Solid. Like, you just won't do it as well. Like, every other game that tries has never done it as well as this. And then you've got like the iconic when the game starts up and you hear that PlayStation when you first turn it on, and like the sound of the disc just spinning in the device. Like, I don't know, it's just all of it's like perfect.
That sound creates what I would call euphoria in my brain.
Yes.
That load up sound. Absolute euphoria. PlayStation 1 was really one of the first moments where the idea of console gaming stopped feeling like it was only for kids. Like Metal Gear Solid is like a story for teenagers and adults, right?
Well, we didn't even talk about GTA.
There weren't, like.
Oh god, we didn't even mention it. That's
PS1,
crazy.
like, how many M for mature rated games were out before PS1? Because, I mean, you've got like the SNES and the Genesis, and those were all pretty like all ages from what I remember. Like, there was stuff like, Mortal Kombat. It's like, all right, whatever. There's some blood, but like there wasn't like swearing or like adult scenes or anything like that. And I feel like
talking about war,
Metal
Gear Solid, the Cold War
a bit, with the PS1.
Like in the UK, I remember a lot of the advertising was very much about, it was almost like young 20-somethings like coming back from the club and playing Tekken and like having like drunken nights is how they kind of like they did Sony PlayStation promo parties where they like gave out fucking like pills at clubs and shit that were like themed with the symbols on it and shit. I swear to God, like the advertising budget was really weird, and all the advertising executives were like coked up to fuck back then. So they did some really weird adverts for the PlayStation.
Drugs. Sell it with drugs.
But
drugs.
That's what they wanted to do, is they wanted to be like, Nintendo's for kids. If you're an adult, you get PlayStation. You can play all these games. Lara Croft got big tits.
Right.
Buy it,
Big
and
giant
it worked.
triangles.
It worked. And it was important, and it's an S-rank console. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
the
original.
It was my first console.
Oh,
Like before then,
really?
Yeah, before then, like, it'd always been my brother's consoles, and then he had a PlayStation, and I wasn't allowed to play it. So eventually, because he was a dickhead, still to this day sometimes. And then as eventually, like, I winded up, and my parents finally got me a PlayStation, and my first games were Hercules and something else, Spyro, I think.
I can't believe your parents didn't say to your brother, let your little brother play on the games console too at one point.
I eventually had to steal Final Fantasy VII from him because I wanted to play it, because I just played 8. And I was like, I need to play 7, so I stole Final Fantasy VII from him. And about 10 years later, I told him I did it, and he still got angry at me.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
Wow.
I gave it back. You never knew.
To be that unbothered in life that's your primary thing to get angry about. Jesus.
Yeah.
But enough about Gary's brotherly relations.
Yeah, let's we've done one console from each major company, Nintendo, Sega, and Sony, and now Microsoft, Xbox, the original. Way back in, I believe, like 2000 or something like that.
No, it was later than that. I was in college when it came out. Let me look. Xbox original release date.
2001,
looks like
maybe?
2001. Yeah, so November 2001.
2001.
I remember buying it when it came out. I was in college, and I remember. So the strongest memory I have for Xbox right now, the original Xbox, is that it suffered. It's kind of like the Dreamcast of the next iteration, in the sense that like it came out with like no games basically. Like it had Halo.
And Halo.
It had the 2K. It had some like original Microsoft. What was the football game they had? It was like it wasn't 2K and it wasn't Madden. It was
Madden.
It was like
NFL.
It was no. It was like a Microsoft one. Hold on. NFL games.
Was it Game Day? Is that what it was called?
I don't think.
Change the game.
Game
Was it? Okay, Madden. There was Madden Game Day. There was Blitz. That wasn't Microsoft though.
I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. It wasn't ESPN branded. It was. What was the NFL Fever? It's called NFL Fever.
Oh, yeah.
Catch the fever.
And I remember I liked Fever a lot. It was fun. It had online. That was really fun. Because it was 2001. The internet was starting to become more and more of a mainstay in people's lives, and so like the online gaming on Xbox to me what Xbox signifies is like the beginning of like online multiplayer gaming as like
I agree.
a revolution. And then Halo, like the original Halo was like huge for that.
Well,
Yeah,
this is what I would say.
We kind of glossed over it a little bit, but Halo coming out, I mean, that was like one of the biggest launch titles of all time.
Yeah.
Like I was 13 at the time, and every other 13-year-old boy I knew wanted to play Halo all the time. I went over to their house, want to play some Halo? I mean, it was just automatic. And then we'd play Halo for hours. And that's like all that we would do. We would like drink Dr. Pepper and play Halo online. And
sounds like a good life to me, honestly.
Complain about snipers.
Yeah, like the thing I would say about the console, if we was to say that Nintendo were for kids and PlayStation was for adults, Xbox felt like the console for friends. Like that was the one where like you played it together. Like you watched each other play games, you played online, you co-opted. That was the game where like me and my friends would play together more so than like Sony. Like my PlayStation.
What
was
did you
for me
co-op play together that wasn't Halo though?
No,
Halo 2.
Just Halo 2.
See,
Halo 2.
that's
Yeah,
one of my
Halo 2.
problems with the Xbox is like outside of Halo
Well, there's
and Xbox Live,
Yeah, sorry.
I feel like it doesn't have a lot to offer.
I'm going down the list. I'm scrolling this list of Halo of Xbox games, and it's like, yeah, they had some bangers. Obviously, like Elder Scrolls was Morrowind was on Xbox.
Okay, that's very fair.
Halo was on there, but
Oblivion.
like you're already starting to see like some stuff like Splinter Cell, which was like multi-platform. So it wasn't originally, it wasn't an Xbox only. Like what did they outside of like Halo? What did Xbox really have? Fable, I guess, if you like really want. But like, was Fable that great? Like, what Microsoft games?
This might get me crucified, but I don't think Fable is that great. I played.
I think it's mid at best, and I played it. I played it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speak the truth, gospel.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, the multiplayer was great, but like Tony Hawk, that's a port. That's PlayStation. That's already, you know what I mean? Fusion Frenzy was one of their big originals. Like fun, but like, man, Xbox like didn't innovate as much as Dreamcast did, and really what it did was it launched Halo for us. It was like a Halo
It's true. I will say at the time too, it's like when Xbox launched, everybody was like, Microsoft's making a game console. Okay. You know, kind of rolling their eyes. And I think that Halo helped reverse that a little bit, but I don't really remember any other games being talked about that often on the playground, so to speak.
I'm gonna fight. Halo was such a big deal, though.
It was a big deal.
It was such a massive deal. Like the fact that
I can't overstate it.
The Xbox is still going because of how good Halo was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The Xbox is still like, Dreamcast died. So that was Sega's last console. It was more innovative, but it's a dead console and they just make Sonic now.
They just shut down the Xbox Live store for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Just like a couple of days ago.
Well, we'll get into that more.
That'll be like
360. But I do kind of feel like the Xbox 360 has more to do with Xbox's continuing legacy than Halo specifically. But we can talk about that later.
I'm kind of low key an Xbox the original Xbox hater. Actually, I didn't like the controller; it was too big.
Oh, the controller is
the controller is big.
I thought
It's
the game
terrible.
library was
Bad
kind
controller.
of.
Library is pathetic. Let's just say it. It was horrible.
I
Well,
do.
they had Aquaman Battle for Atlantis. Sorry.
Oh, never mind. I take
Never mind,
it
you
all
changed my
back. I
mind.
take it all back.
Did you guys play Bomberman Zero? Hello.
Yeah.
Oh god, I forgot that existed. S
The
tier.
edgy Bomberman game.
Yeah.
God,
I think it was like a
no.
Western developer, so it stopped being cute, and they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be like a guy that like could fuck your wife."
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah,
like a robot guy.
Yeah, he's the bomber man.
It's
dark and
stormy.
I understand that like launching the concept of Xbox Live was important. Having a Western developer enter the hardware market when it was very Japan dominated is significant as well. But I'm kind of really didn't like the Xbox. I like the 360 more. I think that you had like a wider
I do as
variety
well.
of games.
We'll
and it was
talk
easier to
about
use,
that.
but-
We'll talk about that more. I
Yeah.
will go to bat. I will go to battle for the 360.
Me
but for
too.
now, we're
Me
talking
too.
about the OG Xbox. I think that Halo's literally the only thing keeping it out of the basement at this point. Like,
yeah, or
it's-
keeping you in the
yeah,
basement.
to me, like it's like without Halo, it's an easy D tier.
Yeah,
console.
Halo,
maybe
pizza,
even F. Like
connecting
it's-
all the consoles together, you and the bros. Like I totally get that, but
I would actually be content with having it in C.
Gary
Yeah.
looks like he wants to go.
I think
higher.
C's too high.
Gary's getting angry, but
It's
I
not
wanna go
going
lower
in
than
C. It's the friendship console.
what
There's
is
no
going in
way.
C? It's not
What
the original
friendship?
Xbox.
What do you mean, what friendship? How
Tell me,
dare you?
list 5
You
games you
play
play
No,
with
no,
your friends on
it's
Xbox.
it's the game. Like you would watch your friend play that console together. Like I used to have
Because
a
you
friend
couldn't
who would
play it
bring
together,
his-
so you have to watch them play.
Doesn't matter. People were having to do it, and like Morrowind slaps, and
It's
Halo
the
was
friendship
amazing.
console because you can't play together, so you just sit there and watch them play. I want to play
I-
co-op
like-
games together. Streets of Rage 2, Sega Mega Drive. Let's go.
Yeah, but I didn't do that.
Okay,
Well-
so you're basically saying it's the friendship console because you sat there and watched your friends play.
I hate to do this. I do hate to do this, but I have to help Gary a little bit because I forgot about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Which
Oh
is
my
an
god,
exclusive.
Gary.
KOTOR.
That's an
KOTOR.
S tier.
really
That's an
good.
S
KOTOR
tier
1 and
RPG,
2.
Okay.
That's true.
and
That's true.
it was an Xbox exclusive.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
So
Okay.
it's-
which makes me feel okay
If-
with keeping it in C tier. It's still okay in C tier with KOTOR.
I mean, I'd throw it in B.
Nope.
Like
definitely
keep
not.
it's
Nope.
it's still the foundation of one of the big three.
So what? It sucked.
Hmm.
It had three,
It didn't
it had three
suck.
good games.
It
Had
didn't
three
suck.
good
Saying
games.
that. Doug was like, I'm gonna have to back up Gary, and now you're like, yeah, but
I'm back. Oh, well, because I thought I was backing up. I would have been fighting for D tier if I hadn't remembered
D?
KOTOR.
Even I would have at least put it in C, and I hate the Xbox, but
Yeah, like it's a B console for me. I think it had like the games it had a limited title base. They weren't loads of sports games.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah,
But the ones
limited
that did
title
have-
base. It's that. That's what it. Exclusives. It was like 3 games.
Doesn't matter. They were all fucking
It's Halo,
awesome.
Halo 2, and KOTOR are the
KOTOR
notable
1 and 2.
exclusives.
That's 4. And we're up to 4 already.
Notable exclusives.
Up to 4 already for an entire console generation.
For an entire
Wow.
console generation. Yes. Oh,
I'm not
wow.
saying top of B tier or anything.
I
I don't
just
think
got
it's closing in
dunked
on
on.
A.
I mean,
Like-
the highest I'd be willing to do is low B below the NES.
yeah, I'll put
No.
low B,
yeah,
but Gary, you have to say
that's
thanks.
where I'm fighting.
Ugh, you
That's
guys,
where I'm
I hate
fighting
this.
for.
I hate
Doug,
it.
Doug,
because-
Doug, if we give him this now, he'll be easier later on other things.
I don't even. Okay, whatever.
It's true. I could be a real
You
piss
know,
baby.
I
about those.
would probably tear up right now if it wasn't for KOTOR. But thank God KOTOR.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I'll just be like, okay,
this is what I'm
fine.
saying. That I am a Sony boy. Like, I didn't like. I was as a kid. I would fight
This-
against the Xbox kids.
This
but I'm not
motherfucker
gonna-
better. This motherfucker better fight for S tier for 360 if he's gonna put the Xbox in B tier.
Yeah.
All right? You better
The
be
friendship
fighting for S
console.
tier.
What are
The fucking best friendship
What's gonna?
console.
I mean, if the Xbox doesn't go in C, I'm like, what is gonna go in C then?
Yeah.
It just feels weird.
If you really want it in
Well-
C tier, I just think that's like, I don't know. It just feels weird to put the Xbox
No.
there.
Let's put it in B.
The only argument I could see to put it in C tier for me, the final straw would be it's a really ugly green.
And it's
It's
huge.
ugly.
Remember
It's
how big
an
it
ugly
was?
console.
It was huge, and the controller was huge too.
It was
Remember
a horrible
holding that thing?
controller.
legit
It was
bad.
like
horrible
fucking
controller.
clonk, dude.
Yeah, if controllers before that were designed so that kids can use them primarily, the Xbox controller was designed so that like huge
controller-
guys could
I
use
think-
it.
The controller did suck. It was like the worst bit about playing
ass.
Morrowind
I do
was the
think-
fucking controller.
I do think
No.
Xbox is like the latest bad console controller. Like I can't think of like one later than it that's worse. It was like
I
the
tell you
last
what.
bad one.
Put it in C. The controller is rubbish. I can't defend the controller. The controller
People are gonna get so
We've done
annoyed
it.
in the comments because you know there's gonna be people that's like, I was 14 and I played Halo. And, believe me,
Ow,
I did the
whatever.
whole I did the whole
I've
you
played
link the consoles up where 16 of us were all at a friend's house and we had pizza.
Yeah, we did the same
and we
shit.
drank
Pies.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Best,
did the same
best.
thing.
man.
and it
It's
was
incredible.
quite fun, but
Yeah, true.
I don't think
Yeah.
That controller
okay.
sucked,
We
though.
can-
I can't defend
Yep.
the controller at all.
Ass.
It's not,
We
there's
can
not an
move on.
argument in me
library
to fight for
ass.
I would like to move on to the Game Boy. The Game Boy. Now,
OG
this
Game
is-
Boy.
Now they've got both the black and white Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. However, they're basically the same thing.
Just
If
together.
we just combine them, because like technically there are some games that were Game Boy Color only that you.
Like
I think-
Pokemon Yellow, right?
No, Pokemon Yellow was regular Game Boy. It's
Does
like
that
if they
work
had
on
like
that
a
as well?
transparent cartridge, it was for color. But I think you
Okay.
could still play it on. No, you could still play it on Game Boy regular. It just wouldn't have the colors.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
actually-
quite common. A lot of
Yeah.
games would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just
Yep.
do the same thing. Actually, so the Game Boy for me, I had one of these battery guzzlers over here. It took 4 AA batteries.
Oh yeah.
I bought it. It was the first console that I like bought with my own money. Because the rest I had were hand-me-downs. Like I don't think I talked about this, but like the NES was a hand-me-down. I talked about that. But the PS1 that I had was also a hand-me-down. I just got given it for free. But the Game Boy I bought myself so I could play Pokemon Blue. That's the whole reason I got it for $30 at a hobby shop, and I got Pokemon Blue for $30. And I remember my mother was like aghast. She was like, "You spent $60 on that?" And I was just like, "Yes." And I beat Pokemon Blue like 60 times. I
Yes.
played it constantly. I used the Game Shark with it to cheat and get all 151 Pokemon with the missing no glitch. I got so into that fucking game. And honestly, Game Boy is like the Pokemon console for me. I
Yeah,
played
same.
Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow. I played Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, which, by the way, that is peak Pokemon. I don't
Best
know how you
ones,
guys
yeah.
feel about it. But the
Best
Gold,
ones.
Silver, Crystal generation, that is like, it was so incredible when it launched. Day-night cycle. You go back to Kanto.
Yeah, that's
like-
the bit that when I was a kid and when you finish the Elite Four and you go
Yeah.
to Kanto, I was like,
Yeah, because I thought it
I
was
didn't know
over.
how to handle it. Didn't know how to
It was
handle
over,
it.
And then I was like, I could go back and I could beat the gym leaders again. Yeah. Like, it's
Yeah.
the best that Pokemon has ever been. I maintain that. Now, I will say, other than Pokemon, the Game Boy has some, like, really dog shit games, especially licensed games. It's got some good
Oh,
ones,
yeah.
but it has some of the worst video games I've ever played have been Game Boy games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
like, worse than NES. Like, they're just
ever
hard.
play-
They look ugly. They're
You ever play the True Lies game?
No, I didn't.
Was there a True
Bro,
Lies game?
There was a True Lies game, bro. There was some of like like that. The life cycle of the Game Boy was so long, and there was so much
Yes.
fucking shovelware for that game.
Yes.
I remember because it came out in like '89. I was a kid. I was little. I got one right away though because like I was obsessed, right? And we used to travel a lot from Alaska down to the United States continental, and so I was flying a lot. So I was always playing Game Boy games. And I remember I used to save up my allowance, and we would go to fucking Toys R Us, and they would have all the Game Boy games, and you could like pick out. You had to pull there's a little paper you pulled out and you brought it up and they would bring you the game out.
Yeah.
And I would save up, and every time we take a trip down, I'd like save up and buy a Game Boy game. And it was like the most hit or miss stuff like ever. Like you just, cause you're a kid. I'm like 7 or 8 years old. I'm like, oh, True Lies game sounds dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, I remember
Apparently-
getting a game for small soldiers, and I couldn't get past. I
Yeah.
couldn't get past the first
Hard.
screen. I might have told you guys about it because like there was like some jump that you had to make, and I was like, you can't double jump, you can't wall jump. How the hell do you get up there? And so then I just stopped. That was just like, and every now and then I would load it up and try again because I'm a kid, and you would just do
Yeah,
that.
of course.
yeah.
But yeah, it was. Such
I had
a
this like really
awful game.
hard like Mickey Mouse game where it was like things were moving. It was almost a bit like Donkey Kong, the old Donkey Kong, where there's a lot of things moving around platforms and stuff. You had to go in and out doors. I had a very weird puzzle. I think maybe the Game Boy had a lot of those games as a kid where you end up looking through your collection again when you're older and you're like, when did I get this?
Yeah.
Why do I have this game?
Yeah.
I had a game where about 2 mice, and one of them was tall and one of them was small, and it was like a puzzle platformer where you had to use their unique abilities to get through things. Couldn't work that out. Too dumb. But what I did play a lot of was Pokemon. Played the fuck out of also Dragon Warrior Monsters, which was basically like the Dragon Quest series did like a Pokemon game. I actually in some ways preferred some of that game to Pokemon, but of course Pokemon was also amazing. I would phone my friend up and we would just stay on the phone together and play Pokemon. And we
Nice.
did the same thing where we like regularly restarted the game. I don't know why. And I'd be like, oh, he's catching Zapdos again. I'm catching Articuno again. And we just talk about it. And it was everything.
Yeah.
It was everything.
And there was
they had endless replayability, those Pokemon games.
Yeah, you can't overstate how important Pokemon was to like the Game Boy legacy, like in terms of like it was like our first introduction to it, right? In the NA West and the West.
I only owned 5 games on the Game Boy. I got the Game Boy Color. I got the red one, and I remember being disappointed because when it arrived, when my parents got it for me, it was more pink than red, which I was like, oh, I'm getting bullied in school. That's what that equals.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Which it did.
Late 90s, yeah.
You know, now that we're in our 30s, it'd be much easier to be like, I don't fucking care what you think. If I like the pink one, I'm having the pink one. But back then, you were like, please don't push my face into the dirt and beat me up.
Why is this not more red? I'm sticking Pokemon Red into it. Like, they look very different, this Game Boy and this cartridge. But I owned 5 games on the Game Boy. I had Pokemon Red, I had Pokemon Yellow, I had Pokemon Gold,
sensing a theme,
Silver, and Crystal.
Oh my God, you had all of them?
Pokemon games. That's crazy.
I remember I got Silver because my friend just gave me his cartridge. I was like, I've got Silver as well.
I had Gold, Silver, and Crystal as well. I had all 3. Yeah.
Oh damn.
Because as John said, Gold, Silver, Crystal was the best.
It's just that good. Yeah. Crystal in particular, I think, is the best Pokemon game ever.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the tweet? Some rando who really gives a fuck of the person that was like, yeah, I fell out of the Pokemon series when I went to Gold and Silver because the day-night cycle and having gender, it was too complicated for me. I was like, we have this in real life. How is it that hard?
That's
People like shadow.
What's happening to the sky?
The day-night cycle overwhelmed you?
Just like, I'm not even that angry at that guy because it's such a perfectly like dumb thing to riff on. I'm just like, I'm so glad the internet exists sometimes. So
I just love the idea that like, how do I get an Umbreon? It's daytime right now.
Sometimes when I start the game up, everything's darker than usual.
And the rival was such a bastard in Gold.
It had the best rival. It had the best legendaries.
Yeah.
The legendary dogs.
The dogs. Hunting the
chasing
dogs
them
was
around
the
map.
best.
Honestly,
had Bellsprout Tower.
Yes, Gary's Nirvana. Bellsprout Tower. No, I honestly, like, I want to go back and play the Pokemon, like, 2nd gen games right now. Like, I'm a Gen 2er. I'm not a Gen 1er.
Yes,
that's
it's
weird, isn't it? Because, like, Gen 1 is what we grew up on. Those were, like, the original Pokemon cards. I've got my cards and stuff, my old folder. Yeah. But Gen 2 was just so good.
Gen 2 was amazing.
It was, like, the little bit of added complexity, fixing some of the things, like, the way that some of the moves were kind of shitty, or like making like the bug Pokemon have like 1 or 2 more moves, so it's not just like you can sting something and that's it. Having the dark type as well, so that Psychic wasn't just the god of all time. It just rounded the game's peculiarities out to be like, this is it. This is the banger.
They refined it. Yeah,
you could take it to Pokemon Stadium.
Did you guys?
Very exciting.
Did you guys? Oh no, so. Go, Doug.
No, I was just gonna say even beyond Pokemon. I was just gonna kind of reel it back off of just Pokemon to like the rest of the Game Boy like collection. Yeah, I know.
No, that's very fair.
Because they did like a lot, because they had a lot of like they had Mario games, they had Kirby games, they had Tetris games, they had like they brought in all the big Nintendo licenses for the Game Boy like over the entire lifespan. We got like that's how we got Donkey Kong Land on Game Boy outside of Donkey Kong Country kind of thing. Like there was like tons of stuff.
We got some of the worst Zelda games in the franchise, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. I'm a hater.
There was some strong Zelda.
They tried to do one thing with that, didn't they, as well, where there was 2 versions. Yeah.
Did you guys ever get the add-ons?
Add-ons? Oh, I used the Game Shark.
Like the Game Shark, but then there was like sticking lights into the side of it so you could like play it at night, even though it just reflected.
A friend of mine had that. I was so jelly.
The magnifying glass thing, so you could see the screen slightly bigger.
You didn't have a backlight, and so like I remember trying to play it in the dark, like when I wasn't supposed to after everybody had gone to bed, and it was so difficult to do that.
I remember playing it in the car, and every time like going past streetlights, so I could see what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah,
as a kid, like and then back to nothing.
Yeah, there's a quite popular webcomic about somebody playing it in the car and waiting for the lights to go by so they could see it.
There?
It's quite heartfelt, quite beautiful.
I have a very specific like point of like negative nostalgia with the Game Boy, and that was that when the batteries were running out, the screen would slowly fade. Like
it'd get dimmer,
it would get dimmer and dimmer until eventually when the batteries died, it would just like gray out.
Yeah,
and and then the light would turn off and it would go. And I remember like that happened so many times when I'd be like, we're out of batteries. I don't want to stop playing. And then I just watch it and be like, no.
A generation of kids being like really, really, really intense about, can you please get me AA batteries, mom/dad, please, please.
Did you ever go digging through like that drawer, like the battery drawer, like to any
and
of them
find
work?
the old one, and it'd have a little bit of charge, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm safe now." And then it's like the sound would wobble a bit, and then it would get dimmer really quickly, and you're like, "Oh, it was false gold, fool's gold."
Yeah,
my parents actually got me rechargeables.
Yeah, I got rechargeables. My dad finally got me something. He was just like, you are going through these batteries so fast. Here, let's get you set up with rechargeables.
So funny, dude. Yeah.
So I always had them charging while I had other ones in, so I could swap them out. Yeah.
So how do we think about rating this now? I think
how are we gonna rate the Pokemon console? Because frankly, like technologically, I think the Game Boy is like less advanced than the NES. It's like really bad.
But you could carry it around.
You could take it anywhere. Yes,
true.
It's the first.
You could put handheld gaming kind of like on the map properly for people.
Yeah.
You know?
So we got
no lower than B.
I think even higher probably because again,
I was thinking default A.
A?
Yeah,
okay.
I was thinking A as well. I'm thinking A as well because
it's who has a bad memory about the Game Boy? There's some shitty games
exactly.
in it, but still.
I mean.
But there's
trading card
more
game as well was also quite good on it.
So many good games.
Trading card game was
my friend had that.
I know, yeah. The early Yu-Gi-Oh games, Dark Duel Stories, Eternal Duelist Soul. I forgot.
No, I never got to play those.
Yeah, you gotta remember, man.
Actually, I think it was just Dark Duel Stories because Eternal Duelist Soul was Game Boy Advance. But whatever.
There's still time, Gary. There's still time.
I mean, I could do B, but I don't know about A. A seems. I think there's just so many other consoles I'm gonna want to put in A. I don't want it to be just
okay. That's fair.
The A tier console tier list.
I know, it's fluid. We can always move it around later.
I would put it under the NES though.
I mean, that's because I have no connection to the NES. But
if we were a little bit more 80s coded, a lot of people talk about Tetris for the original Game Boy.
Yeah,
I did talk about Tetris. I mentioned it. It's
go on, put it in an A. Go on. We can put it down later for a light. Hang on.
Yes, put it in A.
All right.
Think about Pokemon. Remember that when Pikachu follows you in Pokemon Yellow?
Wow. A tier. You're right, Carrie.
I love how just before this we were like, Xbox basically only had Halo, C. And then they were like, Game Boy only had Pokemon, A.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't only have Pokemon. It had so many great titles. So that's the thing. Because again, you remember the lifespan of this game was like 9 fucking years. It was like maybe even more. That was around forever. So like the later stage, it got better in the later stages. They innovated with color. They added backlights. They did all kinds of cool stuff. As the evolution, you gotta grade the whole thing from start to finish. And then again, yes, Pokemon was the star, but there were still great games.
Yeah, I could see myself. Oh, Survival Kids. Sorry, I'm looking at a list here. I could see myself putting it in B maybe because the other Nintendo handheld consoles I actually have a lot of really fun memories of as well.
True. I don't mind moving it down to B.
I don't mind moving it down, but it's going above NES.
It's going above the console I haven't played. Give me a break.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
The NES is like, whatever. Okay.
With the square controller, Game Boy goes above the square controller.
The Game Boy's wasn't exactly a thrill to use either. I know you played on the Color, which was slightly better, but
that was
the Game Boy was pretty boxy, the original one.
Yeah, I remember. My friend.
He's got that color privilege where it was like you played it like when the late stage. We had the one that was this fucking big and had to take 4 batteries.
I experienced the big fucking one. My brother had the big fuck off one.
The Color also only took 2 AA's, so it was way battery
6
efficient.
games.
Way sleeker.
6 games.
I am convinced that with the original Game Boy, you could beat someone to death with that thing and it would still work. That thing was a fucking brick. That was when
it was a tank. My current Game Boy, I still have it, and the LCD screen like comes off, like the glue has melted.
Yes.
And it is like falling apart, but it still works.
It still works. Back when electronics were made to last, and now it's
right.
You look at the funny and they get weird.
John, we could put the standard Game Boy behind the NES and then put the Color in front of it.
No, we're not gonna make a separate entry
That
for the
was
Game Boy
very
Color.
diplomatic, Gary, and John immediately was like, nope.
No, I'll just lose. I'll just put it in front of the NES and it's fine.
No, I'm not gonna have 2 entries for the Game Boy.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, moving on.
Let's move on. Let's go to the Nintendo 64. Ooh. So this this was the first console that my parents got me. I got it for Christmas, and I literally did exactly what that N64 kid did. I opened up, I was like, Nintendo 64! Because at that point, my cousin had it for like forever. I got it kind of late. And so I had played all the games at his house. Basically, when we went over for like Thanksgiving or whatever, I would just go in his room and I'd be like, let's play Nintendo 64. And I played Banjo-Kazooie. I played Super Mario 64. You know, I played all the classics in there. So when I got one of my own, I was like so excited. I was like, this is real gaming. Because up until that point, I had only played the NES. That was it. And this was like 1998, something like that. So I was ecstatic, and I got to play like real 3D video games. And yeah, honestly, like weird, funky controller. I'm just gonna say it. I know some people love it, but I think the controller is kind of funky. But I think the N64 has like a pretty strong catalog of games, honestly. Super Mario 64, the launch title, that like changed gaming in a lot of ways. Seeing a 3D platformer like that, I mean, I thought it was like revolutionary.
It was
when. Oh no, go tonight.
Taking a lot of the 2D stuff and putting it on like a 3D landscape for the first time. Obviously, there was like some kind of awkward moments. There are moments in Mario 64 which are quite awkward to play, and Mario just has the slidiest little fucking stupid shoes known to man. But
yeah, the control and the camera they hadn't mastered yet, unfortunately. But yeah.
It was an important first step, and a lot of those games are still, you know, they're quite fun. I quite like the Castlevania games, even though they were like weirdly critically panned. I actually enjoyed them quite a lot. I don't know. Would you say the N64, John, suffered from only the first and second party games were really good, for the most part?
For the most part, yeah. Because when I think of the N64, I think of Nintendo titles, pretty much exclusively. Well,
no, you cannot. Okay, let me cut in here. You can't cut out rare games. I mean,
I just think of rare as like Nintendo games at this point, honestly. But yeah,
I mean,
yes,
it's true.
Like, they kind of feel almost like a second party where it was like Nintendo was working with them. I'm not sure if that's really true though. But there are some other games like Mystical Ninja Goemon, which
Mystical Ninja, yep, I played that one.
I actually really love that. Both those games actually. There's two of them. I played like Extreme G games? They were okay. I quite like those.
Well, okay. Nintendo 64 is my favorite console of all time.
Oh,
and so
I just get like huffing and puffing over there.
I'm pissed, okay? But I'm also reasonable. All right, you're talking. I know you guys are saying like, oh, there's only Nintendo, but the games that came out were fucking incredible, dude. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, Star Fox 64, F-Zero X, Pilowing 64, Mario Kart 64, the first ever Super Smash Brothers, Donkey Kong 64,
Mario Party
2,
Pokemon Stadium,
Conker's
Bad Fur Day. Okay, was the first ever like adult Nintendo. Whoa, Nintendo's getting edgy, bro. Diddy Kong Racing, top 5 game of all time for me. Okay,
I love Diddy Kong Racing.
I mean, I like it.
So good.
Completing the campaign mode in that game and going against Wizpig. Doug?
Wizpig, yep. I beat it 100% of the fucking game. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can slap.
Yep. Thank you. So yeah, we had Pokemon Stadium and Man Hey You Pikachu that dropped that were both fantastic games for the Nintendo 64.
Hey You Pikachu.
Mischief Makers, underrated. Like, and that was Mischief Makers. I think that was another rare game.
Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, I actually, it's a short game, but I love it. I do love it.
Yeah, the
Snap was fantastic. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are some of the best collectathon platformers of all time.
Yep. And then you already mentioned Mario 64, but
yeah, right.
Throw those on the pile. Like what a platform.
GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. A lot of people.
GoldenEye and Perfect
Dark. GoldenEye was the first
console.
That's the real friendship console, Gary.
Dude,
yes,
that's true.
GoldenEye. Invite over your boys. Make sure nobody plays fucking Odd Job, and then just play. We would get pizza, and we would sit all night.
The unfortunate my situation is all my friends had Xboxes, whereas the only person who had a Nintendo 64 was my cousins. And fuck them.
I hate this for you. If I could rewrite your history, I would have all your friends having a Nintendo 64.
From Nintendo. I just didn't get a chance to play any of the consoles.
I hate that. It makes me want to cry, dude.
I mean, if you're not like telling the fucking person who's playing Toad that you're gonna kill them in real life after they lightning bolt you and steal first place.
I've done that since.
I feel like
I'm an adult, like
right, yeah.
And I as I say, I would go around with my cousins and I would play the shit out of the N64. Pokemon Stadium was one of my favorite games. Mario Kart. I still have a lecture where it's basically dedicated to like Super Mario 64, just talking about the character controller, because it's pretty much, it was like the first time it was like a 3D character running around a map, and it was pretty, like, I know there's camera issues and it wasn't perfect, but it was kind of perfect for the time. It's kind of mind-blowing how good the UX was for it.
Yeah,
and,
for a first attempt, it was pretty stellar for that.
It's interesting because it was, the character controller was designed first, and then they built the world around him.
Yes.
So all the level design was built around what he could do.
Right.
And I will say, like, we're talking about the games list quite a lot, but it's got a really nice controller. And
one of the best, yeah.
And the consoles are very pretty shape.
I would disagree about the controller.
I disagree about the controller.
Really?
I loved
don't
it.
like it.
I love being able to shift
I only
different
played
sides,
it briefly rather than like, I didn't own one. So
I think the N64 controller has like one of the worst control sticks of all time. That's my big major gripe with it. I hate it.
It's quite tiny, wasn't it?
It gets grainy and crunchy, and it has the ridges on it that hurt your hand if you ever do the mini game in Mario Party where you go like this on top of it.
Yeah.
You'll shred yourself, and we
Amateurs,
also don't have 3 hands.
No, I honestly, I mean, I think unfortunately the PS1's like DualShock like schooled the N64 controller on control sticks. Like the DualShock controller feels so much better. It's like, oh, this is what control sticks are supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
And N64 just totally botched it for me. But
That's fair.
I love the N64. I'm
I
big up on it.
I remember the way of like holding the controller felt nice. But I could see what you mean about the.
I loved holding. See, I'm with you. I'm sorry. Like I feel like we're picking nits here, being like, well, the control stick. Yeah, the control stick wore out if you treated your controllers like shit. If you cared for your shit, if you took care of the things, which I saved every penny I own to buy the game at launch, to buy the thing. I bought the fucking Diddy Kong Racing bundle at the military exchange because my uncle was in the military and I got it for tax free. And oh my god, my pristine little controller. I took such a good care of it.
I took good care of it too. But I played the hell out of it as well. And it's just going to get crunchy.
And if the worst thing you got to do is replace a controller every few years, and that's not a bad problem to have. When you can play Paper Mario, you can play Super Mario RPG.
I will say too, like I still have all my old consoles. Like I've got them out there, like all in a cabinet. And I've got all the controllers still, and the N64 is the one that my controller collection is in the worst state, and it's not even close.
Aged poorly.
It's like I'll be like, the purple transparent one, that one's got like some stick drift. The gray one, like that's okay, but like it's like the B button doesn't work or something like that. I don't know the specific issues, but like all the controllers have something that's like a little funky with them, and I think it's not a coincidence. I think it's the controller's issue.
We don't have 3 arms, and there's 3 bits on it.
Yeah.
But that's so you can move it around. So you can move it around. You can, like, different games use different control schemes, man. Like, you can set it up. Like, that's the whole point of having
the D-pad. I avoid the D-pad at all costs.
I will say this, though. I'm going to give you guys this. I'll say this. The games don't hold up very well. I tried playing GoldenEye a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Oh, this blows. This blows now.
That's true.
Like this does not hold up." It was
awful.
It was great. It was great at the time.
The C buttons, and then you aim with the thing. Feels really weird. Yeah.
Yes.
So we go down the list. If we go down the list, what we talked about, PS1 games hold up like motherfucker. Dreamcast games hold up. Game Boy games to a certain extent hold up. Xbox games to a certain extent hold up. Nintendo 64 games, I think that. I don't know. I haven't.
It's true. I don't know. I agree because like a
lot of them don't hold up.
I went and replayed Super Mario 64, one of the most like vaunted N64 games. Like recently, I played it on the Switch, and even when I played it on the Switch, I was kind of like, the controls kind of feel bad, or like there was just constant like, the camera's not doing what I want it to do.
Yeah.
It's like it is very early 3D game, and it. You know, they eventually got it together, obviously, but you kind of have to suffer through the jank.
I think there's a fine example of that is the Banjo-Kazooie guys. They went on to make Yooka-Laylee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Yooka-Laylee was not particularly well received.
No,
because it's very Banjo-Kazooie, but it's just as you say, it has not aged like into the modern age. It hasn't held up.
I will actually say I will fight for Banjo-Kazooie aging well because I played that recently on the Xbox. You know, they because it's Microsoft now. They own Rare or something. And I mean I think Banjo-Kazooie has aged amazingly, personally. But I also, that's like probably my favorite N64 game, so I might have a little bit of bias there.
I have a bit of a weird thing where I really love the Gauntlet games on the N64.
I think it
was just Gauntlet Legends actually was the one.
Gauntlet Legends,
They weren't like super well lauded, but I really liked them because it was like an RPG that you could play with your friends. And I had like a couple of friends that I played a little bit with, but I wish I could play Gauntlet Legends with you guys and we could just sit down.
Let's install Project 64
Coca-Cola.
And play it co-op, yeah.
Red Elf needs food badly. Yeah, those were fucking awesome games.
Yeah.
I love playing them in arcade, though. We need to find an arcade. We need to hang out and play it in an arcade.
True.
Because it's still out there. That's still floating out there. One of those barcades will have it, and we can sit down and play that shit.
You could like level up and put your stats up. There's a Valkyrie character that
so
John
good,
could play.
Yeah.
She's a hot lady.
I know what you're talking about. I played her when I played in the arcade. Yeah.
Shocking no one.
Yeah.
If only. But okay, so sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here.
Yeah, we got to rate this thing. Guys.
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
I would put it high A.
High A. Doug would
Now
probably say
I
yes,
can't
obviously,
say
but-
above or lower
no.
the Dreamcast because I didn't play the Dreamcast, so I'll leave that up to y'all.
I'm kind of surprised after the description of the controller and stuff that A's what's been throwing around, but I don't have this giant attachment.
Strong.
It's not going lower than A. I would have fought for S if not for the very reasonable complaints about the controllers breaking and the fact that a lot of the big hits didn't really hold up all that well. They don't hold up now. I think I'm a little less boorish on Mario 64. I think it aged okay, and like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are pretty fun still.
I still think the best Mario Party is on 64.
Yeah, but Conker's Bad Fur Day is nearly unplayable in the N64 condition. And when I played it, like I was like, this is bad because I never played it when I was younger. I played that like way later.
Right.
But overall, I would say like I'd be willing to put it in an A because it didn't age that well in the controller issues, which I tease you guys about, but I do agree that stick drift was a big problem on that controller. I like the way it was designed. It was conditionally not very good. They would break easy.
I mean, I'm gonna suggest it goes just below the Dreamcast. I know I didn't own it and I don't have the connection to it, but just I'm gonna judge it based off of our facial expressions and enthusiasm for the Dreamcast was higher as a collective.
I think Doug made some really good points about the N64's great library, though, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, yes, it was mostly just Nintendo. I mean, but Nintendo carried it to fuck. There were so many different
the Dreamcast
games.
is just Sega, so...
We haven't talked about... We've mentioned it, but we haven't really talked about it, but the Zelda games on N64, I think, are the best ever in the series.
Majora's Mask will never be beaten. It's the best Zelda game, in my opinion.
A lot of people still say Ocarina of Time is
but
the video game.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time... Yeah. Oh, amazing.
My senior year of high school, Majora's Mask is like I remember that more than anything else that happened in my life. My senior year of high school, Majora's Mask was like such a important game for me growing up.
They have the exact same art style. They have a lot of the similar gameplay and stuff. So
and I love
consider
Ocarina of Time too, but
the same.
I loved Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask was just darker. It was more of like a horror game. I feel like it was a much darker game. And I think that's why I loved it so much. Ocarina is still no one will ever convince anybody that that's not like in the conversation for greatest Zelda game of all time.
Let's put it in
so innovative.
Let's put it in.
Okay.
I think we're going to decide if it's above or below Dreamcast.
I think A's like a good place for it.
Either's fine with me, to be honest.
Actually, let's do Xbox One.
Xbox One.
We gotta do a modern console, like a really modern one.
Yeah.
So the Xbox One actually had a lot of controversy when it released. It was concurrent with the PS4. Yeah, PS4.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, well, I think it's no contest between the two of them, which one's better. But the Xbox One they were trying to market it, Microsoft, as like it's like your one-stop shop, like technological
they did,
hardware.
The Xbox One, 'cause
it's
everything.
Not just for games. Yeah, it's for everything. It brings together the living room. I can't remember the exact tagline that they had, but it was something about the living room,
Yeah.
And so they were trying to like defocus games with it. Which was a major marketing mishap that they had.
Was it also the first step towards getting rid of discs? Was that one of the things they tried to push?
They were trying to like I can't remember the exact details, but I remember they originally came out the gate saying that you wouldn't be able to like share games with each other. And so they were like pushing digital rights management, and they were pushing digital over physical and stuff like that. And people, I mean, gamers pushed back really hard to the point where I think Sony came out with a really simple video, like, here's how you can share your PS4 games.
Oh yeah, they did that.
They had two of their executives just like hand a game to each other, and that was like a viral video because it was so opposite. Microsoft was trying to do all this complicated bullshit.
Yes,
so unfortunately,
I do remember that actually.
That has definitely marred the One's reputation. I feel like they brought it back a little bit after that, but on launch, this was a very unpopular console.
Yeah,
I just remembered that the Xbox Connect was the thing. You guys remember the Connect?
Yeah, the Connect.
Yeah, this was the Connect console. Yeah,
kind of wanted a little bit of the Wii kind of slice of the pie. Yeah. I'm quite lukewarm on the Xbox One, to be honest.
See, this will make the Xbox 360 conversation in the future interesting, because the reason I didn't buy the Xbox One is because of the Xbox 360. I know, right? Yeah, so I didn't buy an Xbox One. I don't think they marketed it very well. I didn't really have any appeal for it.
Yes, me too.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the 360 as well.
I didn't give a shit. The Connect. I didn't like the idea of the Connect watching me all the time, because that was the idea, wasn't it? Is that you could start up your home entertainment system at any point, because the Connect was always watching and listening to you, and I hated all of that idea.
Right.
You know, everyone puts Alexa and stuff in their houses these days. But yeah, that was my thoughts on the Xbox One. It didn't appeal to me at all.
Was the Connect the one that, like, the first time they advertised the Connect at like a conference, it was like this French guy talking to like this kid in this game, and he's like, "Hello, Damien," and the kid's like, "Hello," and they were like, "Wow, this is the future."
I remember them having some kind of this was like the era of cringe press conferences, though. The Xbox One, PS4 era. Yeah,
I miss E3 being just a cringe fest.
Yeah. It's Ridge Racer.
Yeah, I want the memes back. Everybody's too aware now, so they stop being cringe, and I'm like, maybe we lost something from that.
Yeah, art is dead.
Real quick, I can tell you, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the PS4. I can tell you like a dozen PS4 exclusive games that I love. What is an Xbox One exclusive game?
I've just been looking. There's like 12 total, or like 20 total exclusives for the entire life cycle of the console. There's like nothing. I mean, it brought nothing.
It's like
which Halos did it have?
Halo Infinite and Master Chief Collection, I think, were the two that I can't remember.
But I mean, you could play like Sea of Thieves, you could play Fortnite, you could play like all these Overwatch, like Rocket League, all the major games were there. But it's like, it's one of those things like, where are the exclusives? What makes Xbox One? Right. It really just came down to like people that preferred Xbox over PlayStation bought an Xbox One to play all the multi-platform games on. Right? Like there was no real individual appeal for buying an Xbox One. I still have one.
I mean, they had. I'm looking at the list. Gears 5. I mean, I like the Gears of War games, but by Gears
are awesome.
But by Gears 5, it was kind of like, it's just.
Was even Marcus Phoenix anymore at that point?
I think 4 was the last one with Marcus.
Yeah.
But I honestly, they kind of blur for me after 3, which I think is the best one in the series. So.
Really?
Yeah. That's right.
It's a discussion for another time.
It's a discussion for another time. Yeah. I suppose. I thought 2 was really whiny. So, but there was 4 and 5. But other than that, I honestly feel like the games, like the library, is like really weak. And the console had like impressive technical specs, but I think we probably used it to play Blu-rays more than anything. It became like the Blu-ray machine.
Agreed, yeah.
Was the Xbox One the first time it was like, why wouldn't I just buy a PC?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, pretty much.
So does that make it...
especially because we'll talk about it later, but following up the Xbox 360 with the Xbox One is just like, it didn't really feel, it felt like a side grade at best, right? Like it didn't really feel like that big of a deal.
Like they lost 359 upgrades, right? So
true.
360 to 1.
How did I not think of that?
I'm gonna throw out a bold because, like, do we have anything nice to say about the Xbox One?
No,
it did nothing.
Right? I think it was technologically competent, right? Like
it didn't.
It played games
technologically competent, yeah,
but it didn't excite me, interest me in any way, shape, or form. So I'm very ambivalent, and I don't care how low we put it.
I think, I'm tempted to just be like.
Yeah,
F.
I think F is fair. Yeah, well, because like, let's think of this way. Help me out. Is this logic sound? We had the PS4 to the PS5. we had the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One to the Xbox Series S. So like for some reason, Microsoft snuck a console in the middle that nobody cared about and didn't need it. It didn't matter, right?
They pulled a Nintendo.
Do we agree? Do we kind of agree? Is that logical?
Yeah,
I
agree. Yeah, I think
like
that's right.
Which puts it in the F tier. It never needed to exist. It was a fumble.
I think, and especially when you compare it to the PS4, which like when we get to it, we're gonna be gushing about the PS4. I think.
Yeah.
Very much.
I think it really highlights how bad it is because it's like it wasn't a problem with the era because the PS4 did great. It was just a problem with Microsoft. Microsoft fumbled this one. So yeah, F tier.
Cool.
Great.
We got one.
We got one
That
left
one
here.
sucks.
Yeah. Can we do you guys have any opinions on the Sega Master System?
I never played it. It's a very rare
played it
L
either.
for me. Never touched it. Never touched it for a second.
I played it a little bit.
But
I'm thinking we shouldn't even rank it.
C, D, maybe. I think I played Streets of Rage on it a bit and it was kind of cool. But
let's put it in D just because we need one in there.
Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah.
It's something that I think I played as a kid, but I don't have strong enough memories.
Yes.
This is the Master System, isn't it? Like
D for doorstop.
Yeah,
It looks like it.
It's got that iconic.
Master System preceded the Genesis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Genesis
I
is
never
when I
made it.
started paying attention to Sega.
Yeah.
Never made it to Alaska. I don't think the old Master System. I don't think it ever made it to far north. So.
You were there. You're at the
I
border.
didn't even go that far north.
If something goes into Alaska, Doug knows about it.
Doug knows about the
It's true. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think on that note, we've got something in every tier, and we are taking forever to get through this, so I think we'll leave the rest of the console tier list for next time.
I'm really excited about the 360.
Same. We've got some great consoles coming up, man.
I'll tell you,
everybody.
I'm excited to talk about the PS2, 3, and 4, and I'm excited to talk about the SNES, and I'm excited to talk about the 360. I'm also, frankly, kind of excited to talk about the GameCube and the PS Vita.
Same.
Because I have some strong opinions.
Is the Wii on this list?
PS Vita, PSP.
Wii is on this list.
We got a huge
okay,
stuff. Plus, we still haven't talked about Virtual Boy. You know, and so
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be long.
We've got some real big hitters still to go. This has been a good tier list so far.
We were very positive today, mostly though. A lot of the gushing happened today, and it was really It was really nice to see those moments where you guys would tie it to like parts of your life, moments of your life, like Doug when you were talking about your dad and the military base and stuff. I actually really enjoyed hearing about that. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, actually, and that was about the NES, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the only memory I really have of playing video games with my dad was on the NES. I would like force him to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles co-op with me.
Aw, that's very sweet.
And it was like simple enough where he could pick it up. So
John and Gary, has your favorite console been yet or not yet?
No, not for me.
Okay, because I wanted to say mine was the PS1 and Doug's was the N64.
Yep.
So I'm eagerly waiting to see what John and Gary's favorite consoles are next time too.
My favorite is.
But don't tell us yet. Yeah. Okay.
Can't wait. That'll be a great reveal.
Let me tell you, I'm going to fight for my favorite. I'm gonna be.
That makes me wonder what it is now.
It's gotta be the Vita, dude. It's gotta be the Vita.
Mine.
I feel like it's it's the Virtual Boy.
Knew it.
Virtual Boy S tier. You guys
Mario Tennis was the best game I ever played.
Gary loves the Neo Geo Pocket. He never shuts up about the Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah, it's a real problem. Yeah.
But that'll be for next time. And we'll also talk about Sinow's pick, which is not Crow Country, but
Fez.
That's
right.
Ending in the movie if people get rented.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining in for our best season yet.
I think it's definitely our best season yet.
Season 52 in the books.
I can't believe how much we've just been talking.
3 hours.
How long we just crack on?
I knew that the console tier list was. It'd be like Pandora's box of conversation, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Sinow, I think this is your first time doing a tier list with us because we have done a lot of DVD ones before, but never a non-DVD one. But whenever we did a DVD one, we would just talk, and we'd have to force ourselves to.
Yeah, no, I love shooting
through.
the shit about this stuff. I can see why it's so popular on the internet. It's really
It's
fun and easy to just categorize things and talk. I like getting into arguments with people about like the stupid shit too.
I think we put a unique spin on it too, because like a lot of tier lists are just like one person's opinion, and they're just like, I'll put this here, put that there. But like we'll argue about it and try to reach a consensus, which I think is.
Yeah, you'll try and reach a consensus, and then John will be like, no. But that's funny as hell. Yes, no, I really like the 4-way kind of thing. Like, Doug raised my N64 evaluation because I was about to be like, I don't know. And then you mentioned so many of those games, I was like, no, you're right. You're right.
And you dragged down my Xbox opinion by being like the
We
controller.
certainly did.
Yeah. That was the 11th hour, man. Bringing that controller in there.
Awful.
All about.
It's such a fucking monster.
It's
I'll have a
like
nightmare about it tonight.
created for Andre the Giant to hold. I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah,
Really fun season. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and sign off. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. All our fans in Romania, hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
Me, Gary the Hot Cross, who's over here, Doug Running Man, and Sinow Bates.
Yeah, found him.
We'll
And
see
the
you
other
guys
one.
later.
He's down there.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.